I'm standing.
He stands,
He's already
and then he
standing.
sits after. Is Mark on his way? Is Mark here?
Yes, I just spoke to him.
Oh, okay.
When the bell tolls.
I
Wait
guess
for no one?
we wait for no one.
We still have our gold name.
They call me Goldie.
Goldie Wilson?
Good evening, everyone. Call to order, Minneola City Council, June 2nd, 2026. Can I have a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance led by our Vice Mayor, Eric Hernandez?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so item 3, agenda review. I'll start with Mr. Yeager. Everything look good on the agenda?
No, ma'am.
No?
Yeah, I think there's one issue, Pam, if we can table items 9 and 10.
Items 9 and 10. And City Attorney, do you have anything you need to say on that?
I was going to say the same thing. I think that item is probably going to be re-advertised, in which case it wouldn't be necessary to table it. There apparently were some issues with the notice, but in the abundance of caution, if you want to table it to the July 7th meeting, I would suggest. But of course, if we re-advertise it, that won't be necessary. But I would recommend a motion to table till July 7th.
So moved.
Items 9 and 10.
I have a first. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried 4 to 1. Thank you. Anything else on the agenda review? Scott, do you have anything?
No, but I understand from Joyce that there are some people here tonight that may have been here for items 9 and 10. Those were the annexation on the property out on 455. So that will be tabled at least till the July 7th meeting. If it is re-advertised, those, you'll be getting the advertising as well. Did you wish to have me address, I know there were some questions circling around.
Yes, if you could
residency issue.
address the issues that came about as of last night's planning and zoning meeting. I think transparency and as far as legal representation from you, Scott, I think it needs to be addressed, certain items, and this is why you get paid the big bucks.
Yeah, well, happy to.
Thank you.
Yes, I don't do social media, and I didn't attend the P&Z meeting last night, but I understand there were some chatter or some things swirling around about the residency requirements, and specifically with regards to Mr. Yeager when he filled the vacancy. Basically, the requirements, you have to be, Mr. Yeager is an elector with the city of Minneola, which is confirmed by the supervisor's office. He has having established his residency within the Del Webb community. I don't know what the address is there, the property you still own, correct, in the Del Webb? Yeah.
Correct.
By definition, to be an elector, you have to be a resident, which is the typical requirement that we use for confirming for council members. Residency or legal domicile is a subjective matter. Typically, it's a matter of intent. Believe it or not, courts before have said that the best way to establish a residency is to ask the applicant where they consider their residency to be. You can have multiple residences, but only one legal residency. And so in this case, as you all know, before being appointed to council, Mr. Yeager, I think, was very transparent, the word to use, in saying that although he had a residency in Del Webb, he had acquired property on 455. I believe it was and remains his intent to relocate his legal residency to that 455 property, but only until such time as it would be annexed into the city of Minneola. And until such time as that would happen, he would maintain his residency at the Del Webb community, which, as I understand it, Mr. Yeagers, that's still the case?
Still own it, yes.
So that, as far as the city is concerned, his legal residency is still maintained at the Del Webb community. It's important to know that residency is not a matter of where you sleep every night or, how often you're at one property or how much furniture you have in another. It is literally your intent for your domicile or your legal residence where you remain home. Perfect example of that, for instance, is like college students. I mean, I have two of them myself. I can tell you that they are not at my house, although they have a bedroom. They spend all their time at their other residence, which is away in a college town. But they still maintain their legal residence here in Lake County, and our Lake County residence, and that, for purposes of legal residency, that would be where they would occur. It's not a perfect example, but just to give you an idea of the difference between a legal residence or your domicile, which is the requirement to be an elector, to be a voter, and to be a resident, and to be a council member. So I hope that helps with regards to that, and so that's where we are.
I hope so, too.
I think there's a
Thank
lot
you.
of questions about he's going to be a resident at 455. You can have, as I said, two residents, but his legal residence, as long as his intent remains that, is still at the Del Webb community.
So, Scott, can you explain to me a landowner and a resident? So, in other words, the Scormans, let's use them for example. They have 15 properties in Minneola. He doesn't reside here. He owns property,
Correct,
but he can't run for city council.
correct.
So, if you have two residencies, don't you determine that you live in one of them?
You don't have to be a property owner to be a resident. I mean, someone who lives in an apartment is a resident of the city. I mean, property ownership and residency have nothing to do with each other.
Right,
It's simply
so-
where you reside. And as you
Right.
said, the Scormans would be an opposite example. They own a lot of property, but they don't reside.
Right.
And wouldn't state that they reside in the city of Minneola. So they couldn't vote or be a council member in the city of Minneola, correct? Yeah. So I hope that helps somewhat, and if there are any additional questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that said, anyone else have any comments before we move to public comment? No? Okay. Then I will move ahead with public comment. Anyone would like to come speak that has nothing to do, that's nothing on the agenda pertains to the agenda, please come forward, state your name and address, and
Legislation hour.
thank you.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I have three items today. One is near and dear to my heart, as we know. We know the Florida legislature is in special session. They will make a decision June 3rd, supposedly. Governor DeSantis had a good proposal, or in my mind, it was a good proposal, and the legislature is letting us down. But right now, if you go to saveourhomesfl.com, you can put in your residence address, and it will tell you what Governor DeSantis's plan would have given your, reduced your taxes by. I suggest you write or call Senator Trudeau and Representative Yarkowski, because what they want to do is protect the plans to protect revenue for property appraisers and supervisors of elections. And guess what? Those go hand in hand, okay? The property appraisers and the tax collectors and the supervisors of elections, they don't need to be protected. Schools and sheriffs, yes. The homestead exemption, AMAC is trying to push for $400,000 instead of the $150,000 that our legislature wants. The legislature also wants to give business tax breaks. Why? Let them fend for themselves. The residency rules that they added make a lot of sense. So those are that's my feedback on that. Just one other comment. My second point is Google is seeking approval to take bioengineered mosquitoes and let them loose here in Florida. What could go wrong with that? Think of the Wuhan virus is all I'd ask you to do. I know that there's someone from the Florida Keys Mosquito Control District who has done a little bit of that, but I don't think there's been enough research, and I don't want to be a guinea pig with my body being bitten. The last thing is the e-bikes. Okay, that's going into law July 1st, and I sent Christine what Claremont has done, and I'm running out of time, but they went with the Claremont Police to do educational. They bought 2 e-bikes, they're
Right.
demonstrating, and they're talking about it, and I don't know what the Lake County Sheriff's Department thinks about that, but I think education would be a good idea before we start formulating a plan on an ordinance or a policy on e-bikes. Thank you very much.
Thank
Perfect,
you.
thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Clinton Pownell, 14205 Hunters Trace Lane, Claremont. Live in the unincorporated portion of Lake County where the ILSBA is with Ferndale. Many of you I know, Mayor Service, that's the first time I've been able to say that.
Well, thank you.
How are you?
Doing well, sir.
Council
Thank you.
members, if coming here yesterday was like going to my favorite doctor or my favorite dentist, and I like them, but I never want to see them professionally, today we're going to have a root canal. Yesterday was a teeth cleaning. I understand that the annexation is on tonight's City Council agenda. I am not asking the council to act on the annexation tonight. I'm here to enter a public concern into the record regarding the integrity and process surrounding the matter. Last night, the annexation request was heard by the Planning and Zoning and was tabled. Based on what occurred during that hearing, the matter was tabled because of serious issues. And Scott, I'm aware you weren't there. You need to, I'll give you the 8, okay? I'll give you the substantiating evidence. All of it was in the packet. I didn't have to introduce any outside evidence. Based on what happened, the table was tabled because of the serious issues with the city's packet, staff documentation, and unresolved information. It was not tabled because of personal vendetta. I am submitting a screenshot of a message from Vice Mayor Eric Hernandez regarding last night's planning and zoning hearing. Can I approach? You. Pass them down. Thank you. Here comes the root canal. In that message, Vice Mayor Hernandez stated that the matter would be tabled. He also stated that last night's meeting was very embarrassing for the city, and it was. And then claimed that Denise Calderon and Debbie Flynn had a personal agenda against David Yeager, calling it disgusting and uncalled for. I strongly object to that characterization. I have known Debbie personally for more than 20 years. I know Pam, you and Debbie were one time thick as thieves, close as sisters. I was sorry to see that kind of break apart. But in my history with Debbie, she never said a negative thing about a sitting mayor or anybody in politics. I've never heard it. Maybe you did, but I never did. And Denise, I've known her whole life. In full disclosure, she's my sister, younger sister, so I've known her whole life. Never said anything disparaging. Debbie was present at last night's meeting. She did not speak publicly. Denise chaired the planning and zoning hearing, and several members of the public in attendance commented on how fairly and professionally she conducted the quasi-judicial proceeding. I didn't ask for this. People just texted me out of the blue. The record from last night does not support the claim that this was driven by a personal agenda. The record showed incompetent information, inconsistencies, unresolved questions, and staff-level issues that made it inappropriate to move the annexation forward without a correction and review. And I cite, you have to potentially resend out notices. Well, how much is that costing the city? It's just crazy. If I was the business owner here, a whole bunch of people would be fired. I'm getting a little upset with this because I have to keep wasting my time coming here to point out things for a place I don't even reside in, but affects me greatly. And this distinction matters, by the way, because yesterday was a quasi-judicial land use process, and the city should not blame planning and zoning members, council members, or personal motives for delays caused by incompetent, incomplete, and unreliable record. The city should show its own process, its packets, its staff review, and its preparation. They should own it. Vice Mayor Hernandez, People may disagree about this annexation, but it is not appropriately to publicly or privately characterize legitimate planning and zoning concerns as a personal agenda, and when the records show that the city's own materials and preparation were the problem. I respectfully ask that this screenshot and my comments be accepted into the public record. I also ask that any future hearing on this annexation be handled based on the actual record. Competent substantial evidence and the city's code and full disclosure of any outside communications related to this matter. The public deserves a fair process. Planning and zoning members deserve respect when they identify legitimate problems in the record affecting neighboring properties such as my own. We deserve complete and accurate packet before this matter moves forward, and the City Council should ensure that the city workflows and processes failures are not mischaracterized as personal vendettas. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do apologize, I did not implement the 3-minute timer, so for everyone else moving forward, if we could just respect that. So, thank you. Anyone else for public comments?
Chris Perkins, 21103 County Road 455. With respect to what the city attorney said, so we have established a reason why this annexation is to take place, and is to allow the council member to maintain a city residence so that he can serve on that board. Second thing is, I'm new to this whole program. You're an employee of his, correct?
No, not
outside,
of his.
Outside of this?
Of his wife.
Okay. Okay, so you're an employee of his wife?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to set the record clear, that's
Yes.
all. Thank you for your time.
And the record has always been cleared, so if you have any further questions, I'm sorry, if you can please come up. If you have any further questions regarding that, you're more than welcome to meet me after the meeting, or I can give you my card and you can give me a call. Okay?
Fantastic.
Thank you,
Again,
sir.
like I said in the beginning, it was to set the record clear. I'm new to this process.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Sorry, Ken, before you start, Scott, do you want me to address these concerns now after public comment, of course, or do you want me to wait till the reports? Don't want to break procedure.
Whichever, reports would be fine if you'd
Great,
like.
thank you.
Ready?
Go ahead, thank you, sorry.
Ken Rose, 720 Arbor Point Avenue, Minneola. I'm also on the Planning and Zoning Commission, and with full transparency, I came tonight, I wanted to understand the challenge and formally question the validity of the appointment of Mr. Yeager to Minneola City Council. I have no personal beef with Mr. Yeager. I just want to confirm that that this was done correctly. I do have some documents that I'd like to put in support. Mr. Gerken, obviously, Mr. Gerken, I appreciate your information, and I'm trying to figure out the residency requirements as well, so it's important that I am here asking these questions. So to begin, I submitted numerous documents into public record that I believe established that while Mr. Yeager may currently own a home in Minneola, he does not actually reside in Minneola. Based on the information I have gathered, Mr. Yeager appears to make his home at 21097 County Road 455, Claremont, Florida 34715. Mr. Yeager stated yesterday that a Mr. Murphy lives at the Minneola property and Mr. Yeager only stays there occasionally. However, the property is currently listed for sale with a listing date of February 2nd, 2026. While the listing photos show a fully furnished, well-decorated home, the property currently appears to be vacant and unfurnished, except for 3 bar stools and a Murphy bed. There are no coffee makers, televisions, towels, bathroom supplies, and other ordinary indicators of daily residential living. The closets are empty except for 1 or 2 items in the secondary bedroom closet. In my opinion, there are no visible signs that anyone is actually living at that property. Mike Smith spoke last night of 2767 Purple Meadow Court, stating under oath that last night he used to live 2 doors down to Mr. Yeager's previous address, and also confirmed that the home is vacant. The video provided tonight was recently taken and clearly shows the home is completely vacant and void of anything other than a Murphy bed and the items listed above. Additionally, according to property records, Mr. Yeager and his wife purchased and closed on their new residence on March 25th, 2026. For these reasons, I'm asking the council to address whether Mr. Yeager meets the residency requirements necessary to lawfully serve on Minneola City Council. In addition to these facts, Mr. and Mrs. Yeager filed an application on or about April 13th, which has since been pulled to annex their home at the city of Minneola. Taken together, these actions demonstrate a clear intent to establish the Claremont property as their permanent residence. Subsequent annexation appears to be an acknowledgement that their residence located outside the city of Minneola would need to be brought into the city limits to maintain eligibility for office. It is important to note that these events occurred on or before Mr. Yeager's appointment to the Minneola City Council on May 19th, 2026. I'm talking fast because I'm watching the clock. This raises a significant question regarding the level of due diligence performed prior to the appointment. Did the council independently verify residency requirements, or did it rely solely upon representations made by Mr. Yeager? Given the importance of residency qualifications for elected and appointed officials, this question deserves a clear and transparent answer. Furthermore, the property located at 2750 Purple Meadow Court is currently listed for sale. If that property is sold in the near future, Mr. Yeager would once again face questions regarding his status as a resident of the city of Minneola. This reality makes the pending annexation of the Claremont property all the more significant, as it appears necessary to preserve residency eligibility going forward. Tonight, I'm asking City Council to address these facts, explain the process that was used to verify residency qualifications prior to the appointment, and to provide the public with confidence that all statutory and charter requirements have been satisfied. I am out of time. However, Mr. Yeager, I would like to address you personally. The reason I live in Minneola is because of the groundwork that you set for Minneola. And my facts may be incorrect. However, I am under the presumption, and this is irrelevant, I'm under the presumption that because of your mayoral abilities and you telling a builder to put a baseball field directly on my neighborhood, I said, that's where I want to live. I want to live where the mayor is concerned about the well-being of our people, and that's the truth.
Thank you.
I have no other questions, and thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Thank you.
My name is Cherie Kennel. I live at 21145 County Road 455. This is for the attorney, and this came up as well, and I think this is a more critical issue than the whole residency thing. The alt number in the ISBA, we talked about last night. Alt numbers are very specific, and they're in this agreement. Some cities, such as Leesburg, as the talented Emily Stover pointed out, have 5,000 of these. The applicant's alt number is not in there. Why are we even going through this process? And maybe I'm just too stupid to realize the common sense of that. And then my other more legal question is, if Mr. Yeager is allowed to stay on this council, is there a recusal? I'm assuming he's going to be able to vote on his own issue. So that's something we haven't talked about. I just would like to be assured that he is going to recuse himself from this process.
Absolutely.
And I will have a lot more to say on July 7th, but I'll keep it short. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott?
Would you like me to?
Yes, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Appreciate her bringing that, particularly the first question. Last part there, yes, he would not be voting on his own annexation and rezoning, so no concerns with that. The other 4 council members would have to address that issue. On the first issue, and I, as I said, I wasn't there last night. I was a little confused myself, if that helps at all. This property is contiguous to the city of Minneola. Therefore, there is no need to get into the ISBA and the alt numbers and all of those other, that was somewhat of a red herring. I understand, and I saw the report that was given last night at the meeting, and it's conflicting within it because it says the property is contiguous and is being annexed pursuant to the ISBA agreement and all of that. To give you a little bit of background, the ISBA, which stands for Interlocal Service Boundary Agreement, was something that was created, gosh, it's probably a dozen years ago or so now, that was entered into with Minneola, Leesburg, Groveland, the county. It is intended to address what you would think, the services outside of urban areas. There were issues, and there have been ongoing issues for years with cities and counties as to annexations and what properties can be annexed or not. And in particular, cities have always had the ability to do voluntary annexations of contiguous properties. We legally can do that. It is, by the way, not a quasi-judicial matter. It is a discretionary matter of the council. So it's one thing to keep in mind. It's not a hearing type of thing. It is completely within the discretion of council whether or not to annex property and certainly give it a comp plan designation in keeping with that. So not a quasi-judicial, keep that in mind. Ordinarily, cities want to annex property because they contribute to the tax base. So I've been doing this for 30 years, and I don't know if I've ever seen a council turn down an annexation request. They're usually happy to have people that want to be within their residence to expand. Because the city provides benefits, our patrol, our fire, our police are serving those properties, but right now we get no tax money. So cities want to have people annex in because they're providing the services but getting no money back. Now, admittedly, this property, very little, if any, tax money, but something is better than normal, and there's really no downside typically for a city to annex property. But again, that's within the discretion of the council when that issue comes before them, not Mr. Yeager to vote to deal with that. But because it's contiguous, they have the right. The county doesn't have to approve it. They don't have any say in it. But what the ISBA did was the county agreed to allow cities to annex non-contiguous properties that are not touching the city's boundaries under certain circumstances. It was an agreement that was done with the county as long as they agreed to provide services to those properties. But to do so, they had to be itemized on that list. I think particularly you county people, should be happy that Minneola had a very short list. I think someone mentioned Leesburg, who a lot of people have chastised for growth, had a very long list. Minneola didn't have many properties that outside its city that they were targeting. Honestly, most of the annexations have happened already in Minneola, the large developments. So, but this property wasn't on it because there'd be no need. It's contiguous. It's not necessary to go through the ISBA. So I hope that answers the question.
And to add to that, I believe the ISBA was mentioned that the ISB doesn't prohibit the annexation of that parcel, not necessarily that it was listed as that. I think the intent was to identify that it is not prohibited by the ISBA.
Right. Yeah. You don't need to go to the ISBA if it's a contiguous property, so there's no need. Which
Certain
is why
areas we've agreed not to annex, and that was to make a point that that's not one of those areas.
Very good, and I think like the Ferndale area was an area that in the ISBA, the city agreed not to annex properties to keep that as a preservation area. So that, all of those and the ISBA dealt with all sorts of issues like fire and services, and all those typical things were addressed, so. Hope that answers the question. So, okay.
Anyone else?
Ken Rose, 720 Arbor Point Avenue. I know I've had my 3 minutes. It is important that everyone in this room knows, to be fully transparent, Mr. Yeager wanted that seat, as did I. Both of us vied for that seat. So we were the only two candidates, and I wanted it public record that I was the other candidate looking for that seat as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stover, 21111, County Road 455.
Good evening.
I also am very unfamiliar with how this works, so I would like to avoid it like the plague, but as a nearby homeowner, I feel compelled to bring up some important points. Point one is the agenda item on yesterday's meeting did not match the agenda item that's on the city website that I printed out last night at 10 o'clock. Tonight's agenda item on item 10 does not match what was on the city's website last night. So there's a disconnect between the planning and zoning agenda description and tonight's agenda description. That's a significant point, I feel, because people that would have been concerned with single-family, low-density housing would have chosen perhaps not to come yesterday and view their concerns. Number two, the ordinance that I've printed states, and I quote, "Whereas the area to be annexed is not contiguous to the existing city limits, but may be annexed by the city pursuant to the terms of the interlocal service boundary agreement." That's your verbiage in the ordinance. So we would need clarification for the record. Is the property contiguous or not? The general definition, as I understand it in statute 171 that I've, and I dig in dirt for a living. I don't have really a lot of time to do that, but I've taken time to do that because we've lived out there for 30 years and raised our children. So it's important to us. The statute states that in order to be contiguous, a quote, substantial portion of the property must be in the adjoining boundary. The road, unfortunately, doesn't count as a boundary, or as a separation. The road, even though it separates it physically, is considered a boundary. Based on the application and the survey, approximately 5% of that property would be theoretically contiguous. That, in nobody's definition, would be substantial. Under that situation, in fact, it would rely on the ISBA. I would respectfully disagree of the city's position on their interpretation of the ISBA. I spoke to the county. I spoke to planning and zoning. The purpose of the ISBA was to provide selected properties in Exhibit B1 and B2 automatic annexation privileges. If they're not in that exhibit, then they have to prove they are contiguous and meet the other rules. Since this property is reasonably considered not contiguous, and it is not within the ISBA Exhibit B1 or B2, it in fact would not qualify for annexation as I understand the rules. And I guess we're having this conversation because in fairness, and with respect, and I've known y'all's city attorney for a long time, might not remember me, we met 25 some odd years ago. You know, I'm trying to just get, because he's, with respect, speaks for 15 minutes or 10 minutes and then we get 3, so it's kind of unfair in that regard, but I get it. And the other issue is, oh, you spoke about the city. This property is significantly outside of y'all's current service area. It states on 171.062, number 1, an area annexed to a municipality shall be subject to all laws, ordinance, and regulations in force in that municipality, and, quote, shall be entitled to the same privileges and benefits as other parts of that municipality upon the effective date of the annexation. As I understand that, y'all would have to bring out sewer and water and internet and all the other services afforded your residents. Because if you're going to tax him as a Minneola resident and not afford him the opportunity to have the same rights and privileges as your other citizens, that's a disconnect. So in summation, there are some very real procedural issues that are affecting this matter that the city has not done a good job with respect. And I know many of you personally. I know you're good people. I'm not here to say you're bad people or you're doing a bad job. But the role of government is to protect its citizens and provide its citizens equal opportunities. And that's all we seek, is that you all objectively look at this and take a look at it under the rules of the ISBA and annexation and act accordingly. And please ensure that the disclosure for the upcoming meetings is accurate. The signage was not consistent with your own ordinance, and there's a number of other things that were inconsistent. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I apologize for going over it, but sincerely, we just want the right thing to be done and the fair thing to be done for our community. Thank you.
sir.
Sir, hold on, I have a question. Obviously, I was there yesterday's meeting to speak about data centers, and then this came up. I believe you were there, I did see you
Yes,
there,
sir.
last night. Just a very easy question. What are you and the neighbors afraid of? What are you concerned about?
Okay? Because here's the other thing about the
Sorry, just assuming that, let's say, everything
No, I wanna
from a
answer your
paper
question.
perspective is done correctly, right?
Yeah,
So
no, I
it's-
get it. It's a fair question.
Yeah.
The question is simply this. What is being done, I believe? There's Exhibit A for the ISBA, and that takes all of these areas and says, this area is within Mascot's ISBA, this area is in Claremont's, this area is in Minneola's. So think about it, what you're suggesting as a city. Your ISBA goes all the way almost to Highway 19. So if you permit the annexation of a property, not an Exhibit B1 or B2, and you are required by law to provide services to that municipality or that property, then what prevents the man that says, well, I want to be in Minneola and I'm not contiguous either because your addendum or your ordinance says it's not contiguous. So the issue is Minneola is potentially opening itself up to some significant financial repercussions by other people coming to you and requesting annexation. Because the ISB also further states that if you are not contiguous and if you fail to meet the other requirements with an ISBA, you have to go to the county and get written approval. And the county can only give you approval, and this, I quote, this And I forgive
So-
it.
sorry,
No, but let me
yeah,
finish.
go
So
ahead,
with
go ahead.
respect, right, you asked me a question.
Sure, sure.
The county can only give written approval if a financial benefit is established. And it literally says verbatim, single-family homes does not meet that requirement. So I think there's some really serious issues, and I think there's with respect, because I've spoke to the county, and they wouldn't go on record yet because I guess they might wait till we do something later, but their position is what I am explaining to you, that the ISBA does not provide carte blanche, and you have failed with respect, I feel, to meet the standard of being contiguous. And so if you fail to meet that standard and you permit other properties down the road, you've basically opened up Pandora's box, I feel. And listen, like I said, I'm not an attorney, I don't, but this is just my impression of it based on what I've read.
Right, and I get that, ISBA, I fought, I was one of the hardest fighting people to establish that ISBA and to continue it, not establish, but continue it here, so I'm very familiar with it, but again, we're at a bar, we're having a beer, what are your personal concerns? And for disclosure, hold on, just for everyone to disclose, I maybe speak to Dave once every 3 months.
Yeah.
So I do not know Dave from Adam, in fact, I don't even know the first name of his wife.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned about is whether it's Dave, Joe, John, Smith, whoever the case may be, yeah, I'm concerned about his rights and everybody else's. So that's why I'm asking a beer conversation. What are you, don't give
having
me
a
the law
beer.
stuff.
Yeah.
What are you personally afraid of or concerned about?
Single-family, low-density housing.
Okay, so.
And the annexation into a municipality that could potentially open up my property to future annexation, and now I'm paying higher taxes.
So.
And with respect,
Sure.
it's inconsistent with what people out there have had for years.
Fair point. Now, whether it's Dave's land, John's land, whoever the case may be, if they want to say, if they decide, you know what, we like city services better than county, right? That's a fair question. We like city services, we like Minneola Fire over Lake County Fire, nothing against Lake County Fire, they're great, they're amazing, but we like the protection of the city. We like to pay city taxes, whatever the case may be. If he was to go, and I say him, of course, because he's here, if he was to go from ag to ag, right? I think that solves a lot of the concerns of your neighbors, which I fully respect. I love driving by there, of not wanting to have apartments, condos, multi buildings in your lot. Is that an accurate statement to say?
Of course.
All right. So I think that's one of the big concerns here, based on what I read yesterday, is that nobody wants to have multi buildings in their. Nobody wants him specifically to have multiple buildings, apartments, should he choose to do that in the future. So I think one concern that we could address for that is if we decide, okay, we're going to go from ag to ag, so everything stays the same, therefore, no more buildings can be built there. As far as building services to Minneola, unfortunately, a council long ago already annexed a huge portion of Minneola that's right there on 455 as well. So that's coming regardless, and I believe even services are already up to that high point. So just like I personally don't tell any man, woman, or child how they want to do what they want to in their land, nor is it my right to tell them what they do on their land, nor should anybody else tell me how to do what's in my land. And I get your understanding, I get your point.
Yeah, but
You guys like your way of.
The ordinance requested single-family, low-density housing.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we're gonna fix that, right. So let's say that's fixed, and let's say it
Well,
comes back
I don't
up.
understand then with respect, then.
Sure.
Are you fixing it, or was it the applicant's intent to put that on there? Or did the city just unilaterally decide to do that?
No, I say we as in facetiously, remember having a beer conversation. So let's say it comes back and it's ag,
Yeah.
right, and it's ag to
I
ag.
can't speak for anybody but myself.
Sure, no, yeah, 100%.
I personally would not believe annexation into the city of Minneola is justified financially for the city or would be consistent with what has been there for generations. So we can go round and round.
Sure,
I'm
sure.
not going to change my mind probably any more than you're going to change yours.
Again,
But
I have
you-
no skin in this game.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but the responsibility for the council is to protect citizens' money. And I think for you to provide services out to that outlying parcel is significant.
Sure, no, that'd be as a mate.
And I don't know Mr. Yeager. I'm sure he's a fine man. Never met him in my life. I
Right.
don't know him from Adam.
Right,
I wish
so-
him well, and truly.
Sure.
Truly. But you don't have the opportunity to come into a community and 2 months later want to change the entire outlook of that community and not expect the community to come and have concerns about it.
100%, no, and I do.
So
get-
and I don't want to stand up here with respect.
No,
and
no, no.
continue to banter.
Right,
but
right.
I think I've made my point.
Sure.
And I respect your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mike Smith, 2767 Purple Meadow Court, Minneola. And this question is probably more towards Scott. I'm listening to the council saying you're going to go ag to ag, yet the city code says you have to be 5 acres to be ag. So it would be a non-compliant ag you're issuing? How does that work that you just decide that you're going to now pick a different size property for ag?
I didn't say this is what we're doing. Again, this was facetious conversation I had with him, assuming that it can go ag to ag.
But if you're not 5 acres, you can't go ag to ag.
No, we can't
As
go
I
ag to
understand
ag.
the city code. Now, that's why I'm asking Scott. I mean, that's pretty clear in there. It just gives you a square foot and says 5 acres, period. Doesn't say there's a method by which you can shave a little bit off and still do that. So
Sure.
I'm just trying to get an understanding, and I understand where they're coming from in the sense that, for all intent and purposes, you're taking a single piece of property out of an established community and saying you no longer belong to that community, you belong to us. And it's kind of a weird way of annexing in. It's like no offense to Mr. Yeager, but he's asking to secede, if you would, from the community he bought into, which doesn't make much sense. If you don't like your community, why do you secede from the community? So I just bring it back that we get a lot of this talk of ag to ag, but I can't see that route and still be compliant with the statutes of the city. And I was just hoping if somebody could clarify that point of how you could go to ag, because Mr. Yeager's been very adamant that that's the only way he's doing this. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott, you want to address that?
Well, obviously, the reason it was pulled and being re-advertised is to correct some of the errors that were in the application and the notice. I'll have to actually look at the requirements, and appreciate you bringing up that point.
Hi, my name is Tom Moore. I live at 21135 County Road 455. And not speaking on behalf of the rest of my neighbors, but obviously our issue is the zoning issue. And our main issue is, once this becomes city property, then we're going to lose our ability to have anything to say about future zoning. And so our concern is, what's going to happen to the zoning after it becomes city property, and 3 months down the line, 10 years down the line, he decides he wants to go for low-density residential. We don't have a say in that, and we don't want to lose our ability to have a say in that. So, I mean, I own 10 acres there. The people that were here last night, we own about 200 acres surrounding that property. And I moved to this community because I wanted to live in a rural area. You know, I got donkeys at my house, and I love listening to them bray in the mornings, okay? And that's the environment that I want to live in. That's where I want to retire to. And our concern is that if this is approved, then we will lose the ability to have any say-so, because we are not city residents. We will not have any voice in what the future land use is going to be, and what is to prevent him from going and redistricting or zoning it to be low-density housing 3 months after he's approved and gets into the city of Minneola. That's in a nutshell what our big problem is. So if you want 15 people to come up here and tell you various versions of the same thing, that's what we're saying. Right. We don't want it to go low-density housing. We don't want multiple houses on that property. We don't think that it can be zoned ag in the city because it doesn't meet the requirement. We see all kinds of problems that courts can decide later on if that's where it goes to. Like, we don't care about any of that stuff. We're not city residents. We don't want to be city residents. No offense to you guys. We're happy where we are, and we're happy to leave well enough alone. So that's what I had to say. Thank you.
So, again, and it's, this really, I'm trying to understand again from all the folks here. So your concern is zoning for this property with the city?
His initial application said that he wanted to rezone it low-density housing.
Sure.
And then it got changed.
Sure.
Okay? Is that his future plan? Was it a mistake? Was it we shouldn't have done that until after we get into the city? We don't know. We don't know what the intention is. And, you know, in today's world, it needs to be in writing and it needs to be documented,
100%.
or else it's all BS.
100%. So
That's the bottom line.
So let's play a hypothetical game. So let's say hypothetically, to your point, on the gentleman who spoke about the 4.98 acres, let's say that's not in there.
4.88 acres.
4.8. So let's say hypothetically that's not in there, and it did go ag. living in a hypothetical world, and it's ag, it was zoned from ag to ag, okay? So that takes care of your concern of having multiple buildings there at all times.
For the time being.
For the time being, okay. Now, you're concerned that Mr. Yeager, Mr. John, Bob, whoever, can change that in the future.
Correct.
But how does Mr. Yeager not have that same concern that a developer goes to you and says, I'm gonna give you $20 million per acre, and now all of a sudden, you're gonna think, not that you are, right? But you understand now, let's flip the roles. He's not gonna be considered, okay, what if you flip that and he moved out there for that country living?
Got it?
You understand what I'm saying? So what's the
If
difference?
Mr. Yeager wanted to live in the city, I'm very sure there's more than one piece of property available in the city. He chose to purchase outside of the city.
Right, but so you are stopping one person, I don't want to keep saying Mr. Yeager, because again, it's not anything against him, but you're stopping one private citizen from making decisions on his private land, but yet you don't want anyone to tell you what to do with your private land.
I'm not making application to make any changes. If I were making application, then you'd have a very justified point of view. But I'm not making application to make any changes. He is.
Right, but he's,
That's where the difference lies.
again, in a world hypothetical where we're going ag to ag. Remember, we're going ag to ag, so,
Ag to ag. And what I followed that up with is that once it becomes city property and we're not city residents, we don't have the right to speak on what the zoning change is going to be in the future.
well, again,
Am I right or wrong?
you're right, but just like Mr. Yeager can't have a say on what the county's gonna change your zone to in the future as well.
He, as a county property owner, he does have that right now.
I should tell you, you would still have the right as a.
Thank you, Clayton.
Hey,
Great.
guys,
Awesome,
hey.
thank you, appreciate it.
Excuse me, I'm
You
sorry.
would still have the right as a
Please.
county resident, even if it comes before the city. Frankly, most of the times we have annexations and rezoning, a good chunk of the people that appear at the podium are not Minneola residents, and we fully let them speak. As long as you have standing and are nearby, you would have the right. Now, it is true, the body making that decision would be the city council versus the county commission. But outside of that change, anybody has a right to request a rezoning, whether they're in the county or the city, so.
Understood.
So your voice is still there, yeah.
Understood. So our concern is that we have certain protections with what's established right now within the county. And again, the county could go and change everything. If that's the case, I'm moving out. And if the city comes in and annexes that property and comes in and takes over all the rest of them, I'm moving out. So, but I spent $3 million on a home out there. I'm not just a guy that bought a Lennar home. I spent $3 million on a home out there. Okay, this is where I plan to live till the day I die. So what affects him affects me 3 times as much because my values triple his. So I have genuine concerns, and it's to the tune of $3 million.
Sure, but understandable. But now you're comparing your land value to his. So again, and that's why I simply asked in the beginning, what is everyone's concern
Our
about?
concern is that it's going to get rezoned after it goes into the city. We want to stop it before it starts.
So if it goes,
It's a slippery slope in our mind.
sure. So if it goes to ag, again, hypothetical world, it goes to ag, and you're afraid that it could then all of a sudden go back to get rezoned to whatever the case may be, industrial, B2, B1, et cetera, that still would require a council vote for it to happen. So it's not like he can come in and say, I want to change that.
Listen, he bought this property and got this amendment put in front of you in frickin' 2 weeks. I couldn't get that done in 2 weeks. He obviously has some clout in the city.
I'm not arguing that point. I'm not arguing that point.
Okay, so that's our concern. He has the ability to navigate through that we don't have the ability to navigate because he's on your side of the podium.
So is your concern his ability to fast track things or the ability of his land being agriculture? Now I'm getting confused now.
I don't think it's that. I think it's that we don't believe that the property qualifies. We don't want to see it go to low-density housing.
Okay.
It's already bad enough that I was sold this property under the pretext that 455 was a scenic byway, and that there would be no mass development out there, and that it was going to remain rural, and it was protected by the state. Now I'm finding that those protections are not as ironclad as I wanted to believe that they were. And so now I'm driving down 455 to a brand new roundabout, and I'm seeing a retaining wall 45 feet tall. Well, that doesn't look like a scenic byway by any stretch of the imagination to me. Okay, I'm not the only one that matters, but But what I'm seeing is that the city is moving further out and further out and further out and further out. And like the gentleman said, if you have the ability to annex all the way to Highway 19, then where does it stop? I mean, I already pay $14,000 a year in property taxes.
Right, so, but
Okay,
again,
so what happens when it becomes city and it becomes $18,000 a year?
I understand, but again, so your original concern, now I hear two concerns. Your concern is low-density housing, so, but we,
It's the future zoning.
is the future zoning, which,
It's one issue.
so your future zoning, even though your future zoning of your house is also unknown.
No, my zoning is what it is until somebody comes and tells me that it's been changed. I'm
Correct.
not making application to change it.
Correct.
So let's not get it twisted. It's not about that. It's not about future use of my property. I'm not asking to make any changes. I'm perfectly happy with what's there, and I purchased the property based on what's there, and I own the property, and I'm satisfied with what's there. I didn't purchase a piece of property, not be happy with what's there, and then try to change it to be what I want it to be. If that was the case, then he should have bought in the city.
But as a property owner in Minneola, I'm sorry, and the property owner in Lake County, as a property owner in the United States, you are, and just like anybody else who owns property, you are afforded certain liberties that allows you to do certain things.
Of course. And if I were making that application, you would have a valid argument, but I'm not making that application.
Correct. You personally, you're not. And I respect that,
Correct.
100%.
And anybody else out here that lives around there. We are not looking to change anything. We want it to stay exactly the way it is.
Correct.
And that's why we're all here.
Right. Now, since day one in this council, and you haven't been here, of course, since day one.
We lived here for 4 years.
So you lived here for 4 years, and all this mass development, you understand, especially one that's on 455, was approved over 15 years ago.
I get that, and I get that. I realize that there are ways around everything. All the entrances to all those subdivisions come off of Hancock Road and not off of 455. So technically, there is no mass development on 455. It's adjacent to it. I realize that there are legal technicalities, and I understand how they're navigating around it. I'm not a Lennar Homes. I'm a contractor, by the way. I've been a contractor. I've been a plumbing contractor for 50 years, okay? I've been in the building business my entire life. It's all I know how to do. I understand how these things work. I know the Pulte homes. I know the Lennar homes. I know they have a lot of lobbyists and they have a lot of power. And I know there's ways that you can navigate around any rule that there is.
Right, no, I'm not talking about, what I'm referring to is something that was passed by council over 15 years ago under a PUD.
Understood.
Which
Understood. It doesn't affect me because I'm outside of the city limits.
It will affect you because you're afraid of mass development, yes, yet this mass development is going to put over 300 homes in an area near your home. That was approved over 15 years ago.
But 1,500 feet from my home is different.
Yeah.
15.
Hey, guys, listen. I apologize, but I can't have anybody in the audience to have any outbursts or anything to say unless you're up by that microphone, out of respect for everyone, okay? So, and I hear you, 100%. But we have to, the same way you had respect for someone that stood up there to speak, they have to have the same respect for you as well. So please, I get it, I hear it, we're going around in a circle. Please let me be the one to make that call. That is why I'm up here. Thank you, ma'am. But moving right along, thank you, sir, for your time. I appreciate it. And if we can move forward with this,
But I just, because this is all, I guess, on the record, if the council is permitted to ask questions of the public
Right.
with respect to this matter,
Right.
then it is our absolute right to respond to those questions.
absolutely.
So I have two
Absolutely.
points I would like to make. The primary issue here, sir, as I see it, this is an annexation issue. And as Tom mentioned, it might end up in the courts, I don't know. But the issue at its core is it reasonable and does this property meet the standards for annexation? Everything after that is window dressing. Number two, you asked that man, what if somebody came and gave him $20 million for his property and wanted to put houses on it? Well, I can tell you the answer to that. The county's comprehensive plan would prohibit it. And I was here 30 years ago when we were fighting that subdivision, okay? And we won when Bob Poole was the county commissioner, and it went all the way to Jeb Bush and got overturned. So I'm very familiar with the Sugarloaf PUD. Our contention is not that the city of Minneola is doing something improper. I'm sure you do a fine job. Have tremendous respect for some of the people that sit on this board that I know. Tremendous respect. But just because you have the power to do something doesn't mean that you should. And fundamentally, at its core, the annexation of this property, as I have seen it in Florida Statute 171, Chapter 1, it's fundamentally flawed. And I would respectfully ask for Scott to give us, not tonight, I know we have other things to do, but you, with respect, y'all are going to spend some serious time on this issue. Because this is
Absolutely.
not a black and white issue.
No.
There's a lot of ambiguity in the statute, and there's some very real adverse consequences that affect neighbors as a result of this. So thank you very
Absolutely.
much. I just wanted
Thank
to,
you.
I wanted to answer your question. You could not sell my property for $20 million and
Sure.
put a bunch of homes
No,
on it. 'Cause the
100%.
county would
No.
say it doesn't meet the comp plan.
And,
Move
and,
on.
and again, just for the record, I really hope that if the day comes or something happens to your property, I hope someone either in city council or in Lake County fights for your property rights as much as I'm fighting for someone here.
With respect, my property will go to my children.
Very well. But you understand you understand what I'm trying to say, though.
And I understand property rights tremendously, and that's what's founded our country. I get it. But you do not have the right to make up rules as you go to accomplish simply something you want to accomplish because you want it. I strongly feel the annexation rules are clear enough that this property does not meet those rules. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bobby Barrett, 21055 County Road, 455. And along the same lines, are you, Ms. Service, going to recuse yourself because of your association with his wife?
I would actually have to speak to the city attorney about that.
Well, I
to
would
see if
feel
I
like
need to.
it would be
You asked me a
appropriate.
question, I just answered it.
It's
Thank you.
appropriate.
And I apologize, I didn't hear your last comment. What was that, please, if you don't mind moving forward and speaking in the mic clearly?
I think you have a vested interest in your employer getting what she wants. So I think you should recuse yourself.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your opinion.
Can I make a few points? Both the attorney and I were part of the board that made that ISBA agreement 12 years ago, plus or minus a little bit. And the purpose of that ISBA agreement was so that we would agree with the cities that were surrounding us, and we were all there. There was a representative from each city. Most of the cities had their attorney there as well. And the county led the meetings, generally speaking. They chaired the meetings. And one of the things that the city attorney didn't explain was we have a 180 district surrounding Minneola that says we are the primary supplier of city infrastructure relative to water, sewerage, and a few other things, I guess, but certainly not internet and cable. So because of that 180 district, we have the right and the privilege to annex any property within that 180 district. I'm speaking, you can come back later. We have the right to do that. What we agreed at that ISBA conference, or whatever you want to call it, I guess board, was that Groveland would not come into Minneola and take land around 27. That was on the east side of 27. They didn't like that, but we worked that out. What we agreed to was that if there were pieces of property close to Minneola that deserved to be in the city, we could annex them into the city. The city, the county manager, I guess they call him the mayor, but I never understood that. The county mayor classified that as low-hanging fruit. Is that correct? He said, let's all agree that if there's a piece of property that's close to the existing city property line, that you'll be able to annex that property into the city. We've exercised that. And the reason we exercise that is because we believe that the people who own property in the county that is within our 180 district have the right to come into the city. That's what we agreed to. We can't now say, you can't come into the city unless you are attached to the city property line. We never agreed to that. When the city attorney says we have not typically turned down annexation into the city, I think the city manager pointed out one. I'll point out another one. All the property along Sullivan Road, the south side of Sullivan Road, that wanted to come into the city, we put a moratorium on it to delay it for 5 years. Did we not?
Resolution.
So we were concerned that the city didn't have enough infrastructure and road structure to handle that property. We have since annexed that property into the city. The 5 years passed. The owner of the property had a good reason to bring it into the city because he bundled it with other parts of the property. At any rate, that passed. To address a point where this piece of property is not exactly 5 acres, and I think Mr. Rose would support this, almost all property is defined with a plus or minus tolerance. Now, a lot of people don't understand plus or minus tolerance, but I come from the world of engineering, and a plus or minus tolerance means that you don't have to define something as absolutely, perfectly 5 acres, but it's got to be within the tolerance, a reasonable tolerance. I don't know what the tolerance is for that 5 acres. It could be plus or minus a quarter of an acre, a tenth of an acre, an eighth of an acre. I don't know. And I don't really care. But if that property comes close to 5 acres, as far as I'm concerned, it's 5 acres and it meets the requirement. So, does the owner of a piece of property in the county have the right to come into the city, annex into the city? Now, you can quote things, I guess there are people here a lot smarter than I am, because I cannot remember from 12 years ago exactly how we wrote that ISBA. But I can tell you the intent was, yes, you have the right to come into the city. You want to be in the city? Generally speaking, we'll bring you into the city. Do we go out and solicit people to come into the city? No, we do not. We typically have not done that in the last 17 years I've been on the city council. We're not looking to force people into the city either. We talked about that many years ago, forcing all the people along 27 to annex into the city, and we decided we would not do that, respecting the rights of the people who own the property. So we look at the rights of people. When it came time to develop the hills of Minneola and set the PUD in motion, we listened to all the people in the county that lived in Ferndale, that lived in Mount Vernon, and lived in the county. We listened to all that. We still annexed that property into the city because that was the intent from a long time ago. So, the point is, you can sit here and stand there and argue the point all you want. We look at it from the standpoint of you have a right to annex into the city, and if you ask us, we'll certainly consider it. As far as this piece of property is concerned, I don't care whether it's in the city or not, but it's requested to be in the city, and because we openly welcome people to come into the city, I think it's probably going to come into the city. Do I think it's going to turn into a low-income housing development? No, I do not think that. And I don't think that the people who live in the county along 455 believe that they're solely in a world of their own. Sugarloaf Mountain, you're going to have a lot of friends in Sugarloaf Mountain. That's beginning to develop. And it's going to be saturated with homes. Probably, I can't remember what we've done with the golf course, but that's probably going to turn into a whole bunch of more homes as well. Across the street from on the north side of 455 is a development that's underway. I believe it's underway. Is that in the city, Mark, now? That's annexed into the city.
Which parcel?
The one on the north side of 455, where they're clearing the land now.
Yep, yep.
There's a whole bunch of homes coming in there. Excuse me. I don't know whether they have a curb cut off of 455 to enter that development. I don't know whether it's coming from another street somewhere else. I don't have that detail in my mind. I didn't come prepared to argue about how many developments you're going to have around you. But if you think you're going to stop them all, you're not. And as Mr. Hernandez, Councilman Hernandez says, a lot of this has been in the works for a long time. Now, if any one of you sell your property to somebody, let's say that somebody comes along and says, I'm going to pay you more millions of dollars than you can possibly refuse, and you take the money, and that person comes to Minneola and says, I have all this land, I bought 100 acres of land from people in the county, and they come to the city and say, can I annex into the city and build a development? We might say one of two things. Sorry, we don't think we have enough infrastructure up there, and we'll put a moratorium on it for 5 years, and we'll think about it for 5 years. We could do that. We've done it before. Or we could say, yes, I can see that all the developments around you are all supplied with infrastructure, sewerage, water, telephone, electricity, gas, whatever you get out of it. We would probably annex that property into the city, and a development under a PUD would probably ensue. So, I'm sympathetic that you bought a property and you think it's worth millions of dollars, but whether you paid $1 million, $10 million, or $100 million, we have to look at how we do things in a similar way from time to time. And we don't really take into account how much money you have. I frankly don't care how much money you have. If you had a shack, I would have the same perspective as I do if you have a $10 million piece of property. That's my perspective. So we are courteous to the people in the county who come here. This is the 4th project since I've been on the county, and again, 17 years. We've listened to the people. We have been painted as the bad guys, but ultimately, we try to do the best for both the city and our neighbors in the county. Unfortunately, we cannot say, go away, there is no development around Minneola. And again, our 180 district goes all the way to Astatula. It's big. And it belongs to the city, whether you like it or not. Doesn't belong to Claremont, doesn't belong to Groveland, doesn't belong to Mount Vernon. It belongs to the city. It's ours. Amen.
Thank you. Okay.
Again, Cherie Kennel, 21145 County Road 455, to the recusal. Whose name is on the application? Is it your boss's name, or is it Mr. Yeager's?
Actually, I'm not quite for certain. Is it both?
It's Judy
One?
Yeager.
It's Mrs. Yeager's, I
Okay.
believe. So I would like to point that out to Scott, I do believe recusal is almost necessary with that
Absolutely.
association.
I'll be more than glad to.
Yes.
And I will state that right now.
Okay,
If
perfect.
if
Thank
that
you
is
so
something
much.
that concerns Several of you?
I think it's
Most
just,
definitely.
I think it's a better look for you too, for
Absolutely.
everybody. I think it just works better.
Well, thank you.
And to Mr. Saunders, we are not naive to the development that was approved 15 years ago. We fully understand that. I was in new home sales exclusively in Minneola for more than a decade, fully knew all about this. The problem we have with this particular piece is there are more than 200 acres on that side of 455. This is one little strip. It is out of place. And you're right, maybe somewhere down the road, we all plan to die on these properties. I think that's pretty much true. But somewhere down the road, maybe that will change. But with all due respect, I don't appreciate the lecture of eyes. Our eyes are wide open. This is incongruous to what is on that side of 455. And to us, it doesn't make sense for the city to go and feed city infrastructure to that one little narrow strip. And that is our concern. It is a Pandora's box. But here's one last question, and I know I still have enough time. Why is the question? We purposely bought acreage in the county area. We wanted the country. Again, I was in real estate. Everybody's got their top priorities. That was ours, and that's the choice we made. Mr. Yeager's priority was to live in the city. That is not the choice he made. So why? Why would you purchase a property if this was your priority? It's again, I go back to incongruous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, while you're here, ma'am, while you're here, you have that question. He's right here, ask him.
Oh, well, feel free to answer. Why did you purchase this property if living in the city of Minneola was so important to you and that's all you've ever done? Did you even look at 5-acre tracts in Minneola? If I was your real estate agent, I certainly would have shown you properties in Minneola. There are plenty. So why?
Okay, so what you're all missing is, I bought that property, and I wanted the 5 acres or 4.85. What you're all missing is, we have cars going down 455, 80, 90 miles an hour, crossing on a double line. You have all that property on the east side of the road that kind of is disgusting now, actually, with all the trees down. I annexed all that property. I annexed everything for Family Dynamics, the Turnpike. I annexed all Sugarloaf because Sugarloaf originally went to the county. The county denied them. They sued them. I am discouraged as much as you are because it was supposed to be a golf course. I have every architectural book. I have the model center. I have everything on that property. And now you're right, gigantic walls. That wasn't what happened. But as councils change and the property went bankrupt, my dream went away. It was a beautiful landscape. It was beautiful home sites. As a matter of fact, my brother lived on Hunter's Trace. So I know about all that. And I've been around so long here that I've had people that would come here, we had meetings 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and be so upset that we're annexing that, but I wanted to make sure we had control and to do the right thing for it. And then after those people would pass away, their children were mad because they couldn't sell it in 10 seconds. So I've been on both sides of that. I wanted to be in that 4.5 acres. And yes, the city is going to be right across the street with probably 1,000 more homes. And it is disgusting because they tore all the trees down because that was not the concept. The concept was have a beautiful golf course and have all these home sites that were architectural the same way. They had a book. You had to go through a book. Here's how you had to do it. So, again, I'm the voice. I want to be annexed into the city because I want to be a voice for people out there. You may not believe that, and that's fine. But I've been doing this a long time, and I really care about this place, and I care about 455, and I care about what's going to happen when they put all these homes and there's no wall, and we have no protection out there, and nobody gives a damn about us. Up the road from us, if you come from the old roundabout, they're going to put another roundabout. That's not probably a bad thing, because it probably slow people down.
And here's what I'm saying.
But again, there's no one in this city that's given more to this city and more disgusted about what's going on there. But we had no control there. And by the way, millions of gallons of water was thrown away at Sugarloaf. And we had to service 3 houses, and I think we're up to 5 now. So they were talking about, well, you know, what does it benefit the city and what's it going to cost the city? We've been spending money there for years when the developer basically lost everything and walked away. And guess who held the bag? Minneola held the bag. So I don't want to hold the bag again. I want to be in the city. I wanted that lake. I love at night actually hearing birds and not people bitching on the internet. And it's beautiful out there. But the deal is 455, I want to be right there. I want to be part of the city, so I have say for the residents out in the county, if you believe it or not. But I've been around here since '94. I was a mayor for 2 terms. I was on council. I was over 15 years at P&Z, and no one's more discussing what happened. And I want to make sure that we get walls or whatever we need to do so we don't have 18-foot walls.
Excuse me. You currently sit on the council, and as Mr. Sanders so eloquently pointed out, there is no stopping this development. How, and I don't know that you did adequately answer the why, how are you owning less than 5 acres and making it part of the city going to stop any of what you just said? That makes no sense to me.
Well,
it's unstoppable.
Okay, well, here's...
And we understand that. We understand what is there is approved, and it's coming. It's there. Our issue is your stretch, that other side of 455. It's what you're requesting is completely incongruous with that side of the road. And what you just explained to me, you owning less than 5 acres is not going to have any effect whatsoever. I mean, let's be honest. Everybody sitting here understands that much. We all understand that much. So no, I don't really understand what your reasoning is. The simple answer, Mr. Yeager, is for you to have purchased a 5-acre tract where you could have heard the birds and seen the moon, but in the city of Minneola. What you are trying to do, if you look at a 30,000 from in the air look, it doesn't even make sense. You've got 200 acres, all county, all people who are happy being there, purposely bought county to be in the country, and here you are with this little mini strip. Yes, I get it. Across 455 is the city of Minneola. But it still doesn't explain why your little strip of 200 acres should be city. With all due respect, maybe what you're saying is true. I don't know you. But what you're saying is nonsensical. You're not going to stop any of this by you owning that property. But does it open a Pandora's box for more annexation and for now the 200 acres to change? Yes, it does. It just does.
Well, no, it doesn't, but that's fine.
Okay, well, this is...
We'll agree
Exactly.
to disagree.
We'll agree to disagree and
right,
understood
and I'm up here
and
longer
respect.
because she said to let him answer.
Yes,
and so that's what
no,
I'm
no,
doing.
no, and that's fine. No,
Thank
no,
you.
no. It was a question answer type of deal, and I appreciate it. Thank
Okay,
you very
but
much.
Thank you very much
Thank you.
for giving your answer.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Yeager for matchstick homes that are called Lennar, the 0 lot lines, really conducive with all the 5 and 10 acre subdivisions in Sugarloaf. You own that. I appreciate you saying you owned all that. You're the one that's responsible. Take a look out there. I want all of you to go drive through that Lennar subdivision.
Okay.
I grew up in Davie, Florida. I have seen houses built like crazy. One of the reasons that you keep seeing me here is I'm sick and tired of running. I have run and run and run. All I want is my 5 acres with my 5-acre neighbors so I can fly my drones, launch off my Estes rockets, ride my dirt bike around, with whatever's left, and just be left alone. Also, you got speeders down 455. What law enforcement agency is going to protect that? The county?
Okay, thank you.
Can I respond or no?
No, don't.
Thank you.
And I apologize, Mr. Yeager. I'm not stopping you from...
Maybe,
To a point, I'm sorry, let me finish up here. It's just that we haven't even gotten to project updates or consent agenda. And again, I need to respect everyone that's here, that's up here, that's down there, and I appreciate you coming back again. But as of right now, you're the last person.
okay.
Just for everybody's
So
sake.
maybe
Thank you.
from what I'm gathering, you're gonna go forward with it whether we like it or not. So the answer is, maybe there should be a 25-year moratorium that it can't be changed from ag to anything else. If you're gonna annex it anyway, give us the comfort that he's not gonna rezone it.
Thank you. Okay. Closing public comments? If you will respect that, thank you.
Could we do that?
Closing public comments, going to project updates, and thank you, everyone. Thank you for being all patient, and thank you. Thank you, sir.
Interest of time, we will table projects updates if it's council's desire. The only item that was
We did that the last meeting, didn't we?
correct, but given that we've been here over an hour.
Yeah.
There's really no other updates. Mark, if you want to just give a quick one of the others, I know we're going to talk about trash as one of the items on items.
While you're looking through that, if I may,
Yeah. On item
we
14.
we have a owner's credit, and we received to extend the driveway out of Trailhead Park out behind the church and out onto Old 50. We received a change order of $103,000. That's within our owner's allotment, so it's okay. We'd like to go ahead and move forward with that, and so we can go have that other road built while they're, I don't believe it's going to cause any delays or anything like that. If it does, we'll postpone it, but that's where we are on that.
Okay, great. For the equipment that's in the playground, I know there were some discussions I had with some residents. So we were not able to move it to the other park, so we are going to put that up to bid as a surplus for other cities to bid on?
Yes.
Okay. And as far as and maybe we don't know the answer to this, not sure if you do, now we can get back to it. Regarding the special needs equipment for the playground that was currently there in Trailhead, do we know if that's going to remain there, or is that going to be relocated?
My understanding, that's going to be coming out with
Okay.
a new design.
Okay, so there still will be special needs, and that's what my understanding was as well with SCG, that there will be new areas for special needs, children and adults. That's, okay, great, excellent.
We'll double check that to be sure.
Yes, if we could double check, and we'll get back to the rest of council with that information. All right, that was it for project updates. Joe, to your point, Councilman Saunders, next week, bearing any other high contentious items, then we will have the full updates as before.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. City manager's consent agenda. Can I get a motion for approval of the city manager's consent agenda, or
Motion.
thank you. I have a first. Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor, say.
Could we make that subject, we usually do that, subject to city manager and city attorney review and approval? Some of those agreements need to be tweaked a bit, but
Amend my motion.
thank you.
A motion amended.
Second amended.
Second motion amended. I have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried, 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 11, Resolution 2026-07. Scott?
Resolution 2026-07, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Minneola, Florida, adopting the Lake County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation and Resilience Plan, providing for an effective date.
This participation is mandatory to be eligible for FEMA mitigation grant monies.
So we recommend approval.
Thank you. Would you like, yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Cheryl Pavlaka, 1808 Cary Street. I read through the whole document, and the only thing that disturbed me, I agree that it's for FEMA approval, but why is the data so old? It was like from 2022. I would think we have more current data since 2022. I would check with Lake County and find out what they're doing. But that was my only comment and observation, but
Thank you.
I agree, we should approve it.
Okay. Thank you, Cheryl. Motion needed for item 11. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second?
I have a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Item 12, ordinance 2026-07, golf carts, and this is second reading. Joyce? Thank you.
Ordinance 2026-07 on second reading, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Minneola, Florida, amending Chapter 44 of General Ordinances of the City of Minneola relating to motor vehicles and traffic, amending Article 1, amending Section 44-5 definitions, creating 44-6 golf cart and low-speed vehicle operation, providing for regulation of golf carts on public streets, private streets within homeowners associations, and roadways within community development districts, providing for signage requirements, providing for inclusion in the Code of Ordinances, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
So this ordinance would provide, allow the city to evaluate streets and put signs on city streets, not county, not state, but allow, if they are evaluated that they're okay for low-speed vehicles, to post those where they can start, where they can stop on those. It would also require the vehicles to meet all the state requirements for low-speed vehicles. And they'd also, there's a program in here where they'd have to register with the city. They'd have to post that notice, permit from the city on the vehicle, and it would only be like for licensed drivers. We would, you know, it would have to be inspections, insurance, that kind of thing. So this is just, if we want to have it so we can consider roads, if they're private roads or if they're private roads owned by the HOA or whatever,
HOAs,
then they would have to be responsible for evaluating them, posting the signs and everything, and deciding if they want to have it on there. This would be for city streets. Again, like I said, you would not be able to drive on higher speeds than 35 miles an hour. Put any roads that are posted more than 35 miles an hour, so you wouldn't be able to drive on Hancock Road or 455 or US 27. There are provisions for crossing roads in the state statutes, but you would not be, it would have to be a signaled intersection. So you would not be able to drive on those roads. But this would allow people to use their golf carts or low-speed vehicles to go to their local amenity center in their neighborhood if they didn't want to have to walk. Again, you would have to have seat belts. You know, kids would not just be able to ride in there willy-nilly. They'd have to be in seats where there's seat belts, and the vehicle would have to meet state statutes.
Thank you, Joyce. Bring it back to council.
Yeah, a couple things. I don't agree with this. It should not be up to the HOA to determine or to take the burden on themselves to put these streets, thus increasing the overall HOA for residents. If this is a city-passed ordinance, which I don't agree with, it should be up to the city to put those road signs. This is not, I don't believe this is required at all. The state statute already has something for golf carts. It's not needed. If a golf cart, if a resident wants to have a golf cart, it's either way still needs to be registered, needs to be tagged, et cetera, which is not only a county ordinance, but a state ordinance. So it should just stay as is. The burden should not fall on anybody but the owner, and they should allow their risk, or they should take their risk if they want to, whether they want to use one or not. This is not a good idea for us to pass this. It should stay as is, and keep it at that. That's my opinion and thoughts.
Thank you. I'll get rest of council's opinion. Mr. Yeager?
Yeah, my issue is, like we were talking, Joyce was saying about, you know, have stickers with the city and things like that. I'm with the vice mayor. They stay away from that and just go the way it is right now.
Thank you. Ms. Flynn?
I think we should just stay with state statute.
Now, just for the record, though, for those, I know the main community at the end of the day is going to be able to use this will be the hills. I know that a lot of people move there to use golf carts, and if this does not go through, they can still have golf carts if it's legally registered, if they tag it, et cetera. They will be the only community that will be able to use it to cross Hancock, because it is a county road. I believe we do need county permission, which they typically give permission to cross, not to drive on it, to get to the city center. So they will be the only community. Unfortunately, they'll be able to take advantage of using golf carts under the state ordinance without this being in effect. The other communities, for example, will be some that are in the reserve, the Ardmore, that can use education to go up and down, but they will not be able to use Hancock, 2 US 27, et cetera. So I just want to make that clear to the public as well.
Thank you.
And for clarification, Del Webb and the homes above can go across 561A but go nowhere.
Correct, yeah. You can cross, just not.
You can cross, but you're done.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Saunders?
Yes. I live right behind the city hall in Highland Ridge. As of last week, we're now up to 5 golf carts in my neighborhood of 88 homes. Across the street from me, the city owns multiple acres of land. 2 of the golf cart operators drive around the city property. My question is, does this provide for people to drive on city property? No. So, in other words, the people in my neighborhood that drive around the city property across the street from me are either trespassing, breaking the rules, or absconding with no oversight.
Again, this would be for roads, and it would have to be posted that golf carts are allowed at this point, and then it would have an ending point where golf carts not allowed beyond this point. Very much similar to
If
what
it's city
Claremont
property,
has
you
in
mean?
some of theirs. No,
Has to be a
if
road
it was
designated road.
allowed to be on, this is for roads, not property. This is for roads,
So theoretically, they shouldn't be driving on the city property then.
theoretically, correct.
We're going to put up signs that say, don't drive on city property, and we got a lot of city property.
That's your up to council if you want that done, you know.
Well,
We follow your
I'm throwing that
directive.
question out because I'm giving an example
Right,
of something that's happening right now.
right.
And when we get to the property in back of the K through 8 school on Keystone Drive, when we get to the 30 acres that are in the big hole, when we get to the people driving up and down 27. I've watched the golf cart leave my neighborhood, go on city property, go over city property, go down Main Street, and go all the way to the boat ramp. I mean, it's nice that they can do that, but they cross city property on 3 occasions.
Like I said, this would be for
Four,
roads.
four
and
if
it
you
would-
count the land across the street from my house.
Well, this would be for roads, and it would have to be a road that was posted to be able to use
Okay.
the golf
Are we
carts.
going to enforce people driving golf carts on city property? I mean, that's not covered in the ordinance. I'm just asking.
That would be something we'd have to talk to the sheriff's department about, whether they would
Okay,
enforce that or not.
someday we may bring that before council and talk about it.
Sure. I mean, I would think I don't know, you would need to talk to the sheriff's department about it. You may have to post no trespassing signs or something like that on there, or no riding of vehicles on there, pedestrians only or something. I'm not sure exactly what how to enforce that. I'm sure there's ways to enforce it, and I would think the sheriff's department and maybe even the city attorney can tell us how we can enforce that. It is city property, but there are certain uses that, you don't,
Personally,
you
I
don't
don't
drive
have
in
a
a
problem with
stormwater pond, you don't drive your car in a stormwater pond because it's not a road, so it has a purpose for stormwater. So I would think there's ways of enforcing that. And like I said, I would think that either the city attorney and or the sheriff's department could tell us how we could do that. Whatever council wishes, we will try to do.
Thank you, Joyce. Anything else?
Food for thought.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, I'll bring it back to council. I'm sorry, my apologies.
That's okay, I won't sit quiet. 8 Cheryl Pavlaka, 1808 Cary Street. I'm glad to hear that most of you seem to be opposed to this. My biggest concern was if this were to pass is the expense of stickers, the expense to the city fiscally and enforcement, how much more is the sheriff's gonna charge us to do this stuff? That's my biggest concern as a citizen. I like our millage rate, and I want to see it go down a little bit more. But to Joe's concerns, I live in Ardmore Reserve, and I see golf carts that shouldn't be on the street. They don't have a license plate. I see some that do. They don't have a license plate. I see kids driving them, no seat belts. Sheriffs aren't enforcing them now. So I agree with Joe. We need to somehow talk to
The sheriff's office.
sheriff's office and find out what they can do to enforce the county laws, as Eric pointed out. County and state already have the laws. They should be enforced. And we as a city should be putting pressure on them to do that as a service to us, the city and the citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll open it up to the audience. I apologize. Any comments? Okay, bring it back to council. Can I get a motion, and how do you want that motion, of whatever motion you want to do?
Would be, I don't know,
I know, because it's like,
Scott doesn't like this.
yes,
Not a
Scott
negative
doesn't like a
motion.
negative, but
Yeah,
I think if nobody gives a motion, it just dies,
It
correct?
dies,
Motion it.
it
Yes.
dies.
You can do
right?
that too.
Do you want to do
want.
it? But
Yeah,
at one
or-
point, we did do a negative, and I
I'm
know
okay,
you
I'm
cringed.
over it. I'm okay with negative motions. Like I said, as long as everybody understands what and as I understand the comments, your notion is just make them street legal, basically. Don't have these
go back what we had,
untagged golf
yeah.
carts. Your thought is like low-speed vehicles and that they're tagged and have all the equipment. You think golf carts should do the same thing.
It's not for us to oversee.
Yeah, if you're gonna operate a golf cart
It
on
needs
a
to be
road, it
licensed,
should be
tagged,
licensed and-
registered,
okay,
correct.
Yep,
Okay.
It's not one more burden that we want to
Gotcha.
put on the city or the citizens.
I hear you.
Correct.
I hear you.
okay.
Because who's going to enforce it?
No, if someone wanted to make a motion to deny the ordinance, I will
I'll make
sleep,
a
I will
motion
sleep
to
fine
deny.
tonight, yes, okay.
If you would like to deny.
Yes, that's fine.
I have a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye for the deny. Aye.
I like that,
Aye for the deny.
yes.
Okay.
What was the vote there? Was that all five? All five, okay.
Yes, all five.
All five for the deny.
All
Okay.
five for the deny. Thank you.
All right.
Motion carried, 5-0. Thank you. Okay, moving to item 13, discussion, improvements to Trailhead Park Skate Park, options and costs.
So staff have reached out to multiple companies to get quotes to do that. The coloring in the skate park is, that tan color is mixed in with the concrete. We did also, it was requested we reach out to the builder, which was Tim Payne, Team
Yes.
Payne Skate Parks. We emailed him twice, called him once. It wouldn't let us leave a voicemail, and they have not responded. But so far, what we have, I think there may be more coming, but what we have received so far is a quote to pressure wash and clear coat, and that's before you now. But it's not any kind of sanding or anything like that.
What's the cost for that, Mark?
For this one, it's $3,000.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
Perfect. I will bring it back to council.
Now, if we were to do yes, I think obviously that's a lot less than the 35,000 that we got to redo it, so I'm all for that. Let's just make sure that if we do move forward with that, let's see what else we can do to prohibit. I don't know if it's a paint or something they could use to not let the graffiti, kind of stick and it's easy to wash or something
we can
to
check
that
on it.
effect. And also to make sure that the surface is skatable, right? Because you don't want to put something that's slippery and all of a sudden we get injuries there, so.
Right. Good point. Anyone from the audience?
No skaters in the audience?
No? Okay, I'll bring it back to council. Mr. Yeager, any comments, concerns?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Flynn?
No.
No.
Mr. Hernandez? Mr.
No.
Saunders? Okay, moving right along. Okay. Do you need a motion for that? Excuse me, do you need an approval for that at all? Or are you good?
I think no, we're good.
We're good?
Long
Thank you
there's
then.
consensus, we're good.
Okay, thank you, sir. Item 14, discussion item, solid waste contract, a discussion of solid waste contract terms, services, and options. Mark?
So what you have, what I have here is the section that has been proposed by GFL for the newer rates. We're still working on some of the contract terms, but these rates are what they're proposing to continue the current service. They're going to pull that up.
So, no, thank you guys for coming, appreciate it. What I've asked originally, a couple weeks ago, is to get 3 quotes, from different people. Again, nothing on you guys, but just like you guys are gonna do construction in your house, you're gonna get, multiple quotes, right? So I'm just looking out for the city. So that's where I want just to see what the going rates are. So I'm not sure if we were able to do that and get 3 competitive bids as well, or at least as high number swags.
You did task Councilwoman Flynn with that, and I believe she's been making phone calls on some of those projects. What we do have, while she's looking that up, we do have Mascot's bid tab. Now, keep in mind, it's something we may want to look at. We charge the fees that are listed in there from GFL. That includes a 10% amount that we keep on our side. But Mascot's charging 20%, and depending on what property taxes do, those are some areas that we got to start looking at carefully. No one likes to charge more fees, but it's something that maybe y'all should think about. But right now, the price that they're showing is with a 10%. The one Mascot has, I believe, has a 20% built in. GFL used to provide services to Mascot. I believe they offered them a price that's even probably lower than what the bids came in at. Mascot decided to go out for bid. GFL and Waste Management, which, Waste Management's another pretty premier waste provider, they did not submit a bid. They submitted a no bid. So the lowest bid they received for Mascot was $37.90 per month per customer. And so that gives you an example of what possibly we could expect should we bid it out. Everything's a little different. We got more volume, so maybe, we have more commercials that could influence the price. But for the most part, people, I'm sure she has more numbers, but most people are telling me like in the mid-30s.
So based on this number, 3970 Mascot, so Councilwoman Flynn, are these numbers that are here per cost per customer based on actual cities that were done?
This is based on the phone calls that I made, given the information of 7,000 residents, commercial 70 dumpsters, and 43 commercial carts. The people that I have on this list for you to review for the contacts, this is a rough estimate, and the reason it's a rough estimate is because I've been told that the challenge now is the war in the Middle East. The one event this industry has feared for years. With fuel costs escalating and the possibility of fuel rationing, there's an uncertainty regarding commodity pricing inflation. So rates will definitely be affected.
Yeah, sorry, that was.
So this is just a rough, they can't do can we pin them down for a contract?
But Platt, I believe, sent you that, because he told me the exact same thing.
Yes,
So,
yes,
okay.
he sent me that, that's why I'm gonna read that to you.
7,000 residents, Mark, that seems kind of low, doesn't it, for our growing community?
Yeah, that was a rough estimate, 7,000 homes.
7,000
homes.
homes, yes, 7,000
Probably,
residents.
we're a little more than that, but it's.
Yeah, I would say we're probably, now, this is for coming, so that's fine. I was gonna say that for the length of this contract, we're gonna actually have a lot more homes come online.
Sure.
So that number could be skewed quite a bit. So the numbers, Debbie, that you got, especially, from Waste Connections, FCC, GFL, and I don't want, GFL, you guys want to skip if you want to, speak on your behalf as well. Were those numbers based on current, or was that based on future? Kind of give us a little background as to how the numbers of 2750 came about.
Yes, so this is just a rough estimate because of the gas prices. This is what they could give if we had to do a contract today. This was their rough prices.
Okay.
Well, good evening,
Good
evening.
Madam Mayor and
Evening.
fellow council members. For the record, Skip McCall, GFL Environmental Government Contracts Manager. I think your answer is, the question and the answer is, how do we come up with the right structure? So we've been providing services to the town, or excuse me, the city, as you know, since 2017. We're going into the final 10th year of this agreement. We go back and we take a hard look at our current municipalities and how they're performing via a pro forma. And then we come up with what we think our projections are going to be for these communities as we go forward on a 7-year basis or a 10-year basis. So the short story of it is, anytime that we're able to renew contracts, I can convincingly say that we have control over that at the local level. As soon as contracts go out for bid and there's an RFP associated with that, there's a whole new layer of structure that we have to go through. So we take that into consideration. So we try to make it to where it's equitable for both the city and, of course, GFL. So we come up with our rate structure, and then, of course, we make sure that it works for both sides, and then we present for a renewal option. There has been instances where there's been occasions where municipalities, we'll talk about the city of Mascot being one of them because that is in your agenda packet. We desperately tried to get them to understand the importance of not going out for bid at that particular time. There was a lot of things going on. We're just coming out of COVID. We gave them a rate considerably lower than what we're even trying to negotiate. And they decided that that wasn't going to be good enough for them, so they decided to go out for bid. As a result of that, of course, as we know, they got mid-30s. Waste Pro, I believe, was awarded that contract. We did not bid it, and the reason why is because they wanted more of a full service with rear loaders. And as you know, rear loaders is a very difficult thing to manage these days with guys getting on the back of the trucks, guys getting hurt. We still offer that service, though, to the city of Minneola. We do a hybrid of automated collection services with the ASLs. And, of course, we do the bulk collection and yard waste with rear loaders. So just didn't really fit into our scope. We tried to work with them. It didn't work out. And, unfortunately, they got a much higher rate than really what they should have been tasked with.
So question for you, Skip. So if we were to go 100% rear load, so we don't use the assisted, will that affect the price that's currently here?
Absolutely, 100%.
Absolutely, okay. So, and the reason I say that is just to be transparent,
Sure.
right?
Full disclosure.
Yeah, full disclosure on that. So Waste Pro, who again, for disclosure, I've had conversations with Platt about this. His would be, and again, nothing against you guys, his would be all rear loaders, right? So the point being is I want to make sure that we are comparing true apples to apples and not apples to oranges, pears, et cetera. So that's one of my concerns.
The challenges with all rear load services, again, it's just getting the folks that will actually do the job on the rear of the trucks. The safety is there to,
Sure.
deal
Like,
with. Yeah, but-
and again, I don't want to get to complexity, but I just want to make sure that at high level, we're just comparing apples to apples,
Yep.
right? Because to your point, if that is a concern, then we got to go back to the other bidders and say, hey, we want a hybrid approach as well,
Yep.
right?
And that's what you have currently, is that hybrid approach.
Okay, perfect. The other concern that's come up here multiple times, and I know you've been in your amazing crew, I haven't seen you guys in a while, how you guys doing? Is the trucks, right? So I think the council would be very adamant, or I hope the council's adamant, and Debbie, I hope this was brought up to Skip as well, that we will need 100% new trucks. Is that part of that agreement for this number as well?
So what we have negotiated, and definitely great concern and completely understood by us as a company. We know we started this contract in 2017. So in 10 years, obviously, those trucks are coming up to be replaced. They're at their useful life. I can guarantee you at the start of this contract, I can confirm that we will have new 3 to 4 ASLs, which are automated side loaders. And we've already got with our team to know that when we start this contract, if the desire is to renew for additional 7 years, come effective of next year, on the new contract term, we'll have rear loaders that are no less than 3 years old. So essentially, you'll have a new automated side loader fleet. Again, it's time for that to happen. And then, of course, we'll have rear loaders that, again, that'll be less than 3 years.
All right, and then the other thing that was, that's been brought up, and I've been very adamant, is of course, any environmental cleanups that need to occur. Is there any clauses or amendments to the new renewal? And maybe we don't have the new contract yet, but is there something that we could put in there where, and I hate to say it like this, but of course, we don't have anything else to go against except the past, where you guys will be 100% liable for any cleanup or restoration work that needs to be done should it not be cleaned up?
Yeah, your concern is well noted and well received for the last 6-8 months with our company, as you all well know. you know, reactive is not the way we want to be in our industry. It's being proactive. So within this contract, we are looking at, we don't have any issues with putting in liquidated damages, if you will, for spills, as long as there is a time to cure period. So like, for example, Mr. Poole takes a truck out, and unfortunately, we break a hose on the truck, and we got to come out, and we got to repair it. As long as we have that ample time to make that correction, we have no issues with putting, in terms of contract language, liquidated damages within our contracts. Doesn't concern us as long as they're in ample time to cure period.
Of course, and that liquidated damages, well, that, and I want to make clear that you understand this part, is also restoration to prior to the accident. Now, again, just to cover you guys, I understand some residents put oil jugs. You guys would not be responsible for that for obvious reasons. Unfortunately, we do have not so smart residents. But for anything that is for the trucks, again, it's that restoration, it's the cleanup within the cure time, but also complete restoration. As
Correct.
in, give you an example, a hydraulic hose completely breaks and it goes all over the place and grass dies, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, all that needs to get replaced, so I want to make sure there's something in the contract that states that you guys will have full liability to, either repave that section of the street, redo the grass, make the neighbors happy, throw in a bird, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something that will
No,
satisfy.
I get it. I mean, we're not typically responsible for streets in that nature, but we are responsible for that spill. So if that's something that occurs, as you guys know, last year was a grave concern. We had folks from corporate that came down and addressed that. Our maintenance team is now pretty much, we have kind of refocused our efforts in that regard, and they are on top of it with what they consider a very robust pre and trip, post-inspection, pre-inspection truck. So, yeah, and the thing is, for us, we just got to make sure that if something like that happens, we got to be more on top of that, and those guys understand now with what has transpired. Unfortunately, we've corrected those issues.
Okay.
But yes, to your point, those things don't bother us as long as we have the ample enough time to try to make that correct.
Okay, and then something to consider as well, should this go forward, one thing I'd also like to see in the contract is, at least for the first year, you may not like this, but I would like for you to come to council for every meeting, to go any issues that may come up. It could be none, which say, Skip, thanks, good to see you next month, or, well, not every, maybe once a month. I'll cut you a break. Once a month, just to give us status reports of any leaks, anything that's going on, any reason why they were late, and those reasons for late, it could not be your fault. Weather, perfect example, totally get it, but I just think it's more about transparency and understanding as to why trash wasn't picked up, trash was missed, et cetera.
I have all the confidence in my operations team. I have no problem coming up once a month and giving you a quick report.
I want it in writing.
So for,
Mr. Attorney?
yes, absolutely. So for clear transparency.
As long as I'm not on vacation. If so, I'll have
Yes, yes.
Mr. Poole come up.
For clear transparency, we were on a phone call, Mark and Skip and I were discussing different issues. And, the one thing that I will tell you, this is just my comment, but we know what we're getting with GFL. And they've made significant improvements. And we had the one resident who had the oil in their can, and they took it upon themselves, and they cleaned up. They didn't say boo to us. And I think your services have really improved. And like I said, we know what we're getting with you, and we're getting a good price. So, thank you.
We've enjoyed this relationship and this, what I like to call it again, is a public-private partnership for the last 9 years, going on 10 years. And we thank you for allowing us to have the opportunity to continue working through some of our challenges, because we're not perfect, and we understand that. And it's important for us to be proactive, and that's what we're trying to do, and bring you the best service that we can provide from GFL to the city of Minneola.
Just one good positive thing for you guys, I'd like to give you guys positives. Give kudos to the crew. I think they're one of the nicest crew you guys have. They're always very attentive. They always wave, so they're very nice. So definitely, I always enjoy seeing them work. I always offer them water, when it's hot.
I take them Cokes and.
Thank you for that. Yes, it's hot out there for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, it really is.
I offered them beer once. They took it. I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird, but.
Well, excellent. Anyone from council have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I do.
Perfect. Go
Okay.
ahead, sir.
Skip, old
Yes, sir.
buddy, 10 years.
Yes, sir.
10 years we wrote that contract for. Now I'm looking at $27.50 the first year, $27.50 the second year?
Yeah, I
The
think it's-
third year, $31 to $32? What's the fourth year, fifth year, sixth year, seventh year, eighth year, ninth year, and 10th year?
Yep, so the purpose of that is to do a gradual ramp up, and then we'll follow CPI. So whatever that CPI follows, we would do that after, I believe it was year 3.
CPI being the computer price
Yeah,
index?
correct, the BLS, and it'll follow the water sewer trash indice.
So we might face an increase year after year?
Correct. It's a CPI been averaging anywhere between 2.5% to 4.5%, something like that, year over year.
If it goes down, you'll reduce the price?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it go down, but it does stabilize it. Sometimes it'll go from, like, we went through inflation, what was it, 3 years ago, and it was like right around 9%. But one of the caveats that we did, Mark and I talked about with this contract, is that we would put a 4% cap on that. So if something were to happen, like, again, i.e. 3 years ago when we had inflation 9.5%, you guys wouldn't be subject to that. So it's kind of we'll take the hit for that, but, I mean, it's one of the things that we can definitely agree to and negotiate with good faith.
So have you considered the economy of scale? In other words, as the city grows and we become twice as big?
Yeah, and
you'll be doing more households?
Sure, and I think this is an interesting conversation to have, and I know y'all spent a lot of time earlier tonight, and I won't bore you too much here for the sake of time. But yeah, we do take that into consideration. And one of the things and the challenges that we have is, let's say, for example, next year, if you have 1,000 homes coming online, that means we need another route. We need another truck, we need more people, we need more staff. So sometimes that doesn't correlate per se from a pro forma standpoint that we're going to, let's say, per se, make any money. Now, on paper, yes, because you actually have more residents, right? But now we've got to go out and buy new trucks or buy whatever the equipment may take. But we definitely do take that in consideration if there's going to be, 5% growth, 10% growth. So we're not surprised when we got to buy new carts or we need to buy anything that has to come with new capital requests year over year. But yeah, absolutely.
And that brings to mind the carts. I had 2 neighbors in my neighborhood who had trouble getting carts. What is your plan to have carts on hand or warehouse someplace? I don't know what your warehouse facilities are, but carts where when a customer moves in, they either get a cart within a reasonable time or they're instructed how to put their trash out in trash bags and you'll pick them up.
100%.
If you're using a side loader, you won't pick up trash bags with a side loader, so therefore you have to have a rear loader, and it goes round and round in circles.
It's our intent to get those out within 7 days underneath the new agreement. Is our intent, any new resident that moves in, that we'll be able to have those carts readily available within 7 days. And again, that was a unfortunate set of circumstances that happened several years ago, and I can confidently tell you that we were on a call this morning that I believe we've had all the cart requests up to date, and if that's not correct, we got somebody right back here that can definitely speak to that. But from what I understand, that we're up to date with carts, and if
I'm
that's
sorry, what happened several years ago?
so, like, obviously, I don't want to keep talking about COVID and all the stuff that happened with the industry and the inventory going down, and we're been delayed. We're past all that, obviously, now we're way past it. So there was an inventory issue that we had. We haven't had that in the past
In my
12,
neighborhood, it was
14,
last
16
month.
months. Yeah, that's why I want to make sure we take care of them, for sure.
They got a new cart delivery person that just started, so anything that maybe looking back before he started may still be out there, but we're addressing those as they come up.
Yeah, we'll definitely work with staff and make sure we address those.
So again, this is a 10-year contract?
The way it was written, or the way it's being drafted, is a 7-year contract with an option to renew for an additional three-year terms.
That's what we did the last time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I haven't seen the contract. I don't know, maybe that's my fault. I missed it or something. I'll be looking forward to see it when it's,
Drafted.
did I miss it, or?
No, there's a red line there available, but there's still a dozen tweaks we're gonna
Yeah.
make
Still
to it.
working on it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, now that we hear from you, and I assume we're probably going to go with GFL, that's an assumption, and partially because of the fact that if we go out for bids, you could walk away and we might poison the well. And I don't know what goes wrong from there, but if we can keep you in check and not take us over the falls for money, we're probably going to be happy to go with GFL, and we've had some good words about GFL tonight. And personally, I have not had a problem with GFL in the 9 years that you've been servicing me. But I do hear that other people have had problems and so forth, neighborhoods. So I'm kind of looking forward to hopefully that this contract will go in the right direction.
10 years might get me to that retirement line, so that would be great.
I didn't hear that.
I said 10 years may get me to that retirement, that finish line, so that would be great. But,
Retiring.
yeah. I don't know, maybe too,
10
optimistic
years,
about
I'll
that,
be in
maybe
the
more like
ground,
15
so
years, but.
I'm not worried
Stop.
about it.
Oh, Joe, you'll live forever.
Hit him. Sorry.
Just a couple quick things, just for procedural reasons. Debbie or Mark, were the other candidates who you spoke to, were they aware that we were discussing this tonight, so they had the opportunity to come?
I did not speak with the others, so.
No,
No.
no. I just said I needed a rough estimate, so we had an idea of what those costs are out there right now.
How did you know, Skip, to come to discuss this?
I'm sorry?
How did you guys know to come to discuss this?
It was on the, I guess, the agenda, and then I was made aware of it several weeks ago, that it could be coming up on the agenda. So as what we do in our profession, obviously, we look at the agendas as they come out every week, whether it be any of our municipalities, and we see garbage on there, then obviously we say, hey, what are we doing? But yeah.
Okay, all right, and regarding the CPI, Debbie, when you spoke to the other candidates, or the other ones that did put in the high-level pricing, did they speak about the CPI, or is their price capped?
No, they gave me a rough estimate because of the price with the fuel and everything. We did not talk CPI, we didn't talk C&D. We just got a rough, or I did, just got a rough estimate.
Okay, so,
As requested.
obviously, up to you guys, we have a relationship with you guys, so it's easier to get that information from you, but just to keep, again, apples to apples, keep this as fair as possible, I think we also need to extend that same courtesy to these other ones, to make sure that we do have a full comparison of apple to apple. Again, I think that's you guys, it's just, we just need to follow procedure. You guys are so great, though, appreciate it.
Anything else from council?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
So Skip and I have had conversations before, and I've known him for a long time, actually. And my concerns were, one, as Mr. Sullins brought up, is the trash cans, is it should get to the city and be done.
Yep.
And again, we don't need to do your job. So the fact is, if somebody needs a trash can, they want a trash can, it needs to be replaced and be done. Not week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, not my problem.
Yep.
The other thing is, as we talked about, the zone manager, and basically, I know spills. I've been doing it for 30 years.
Sure.
And garbage trucks have spills. It's just, it happens. But what happens is the quicker you deal with it, it makes the public feel, it's a show. It makes them feel good, because sometimes it just doesn't come out. And then if you do diesel and it's got new paving, a new neighborhood, it could soften the asphalt, so it needs to be repaired. But again, you and I discussed that before, and discussed about the trash cans and the zone manager. The biggest thing is, and my place at Del Webb, you actually could see the trucks, they dripped every week, and you guys basically dug your own hole. No disrespect, but you did, and I've discussed that with you.
Yep.
And,
Take full
you know,
ownership.
and I understand that you did a reset button and brought a new team. And again, we've had a relationship with you, but that's really important, because it should never get to council, ever. You shouldn't have to be here. If you can come in once a month and, like Eric said, and pat us on the back and say, hey, everything's going well, and nothing's perfect. We had a gigantic spill for another vendor up at the Villages, and we were there for 5 days because the truck had a rusty hole and the garbage juice went everywhere, and it wasn't a place you would do that like the Villages.
Sure.
So that happened, and I get that. But at the end of the day, we supply water, trash, police, fire, and not aggravation to come back to the council.
Yep.
And that's all I ask. Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you, Skip.
Thanks.
Anyone from the audience? Questions, comments, concerns? No? Okay. Final public comments? She's so cute.
Melissa Neville, 839 Whispers Sound. I just wanted to call out and say Public Works has been doing an awesome job
Oh,
with
thank
all
you.
the city serve requests that we've been putting in to get our sidewalks taken care of, especially in our neighborhood.
Well, thank you very
Thank you.
much for that.
Mark, if you could let them
I-
know.
I was just gonna.
I beat you to it.
Oh, gosh. Well, hey, Mark, can you just make sure that they're aware of that, please?
Mark, I said
And I
first.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
that was me,
He's
so.
chewing candy. He's couldn't speak. Sorry. Thank you. Go ahead.
Cheryl Pavlaka,
guys,
1898
thank you.
Cary Street.
Have a good night.
I just have a question. In Ardmore Reserve, all of a sudden, additional stop signs are showing up. Does Lake County decide that, or does the city decide that? And I didn't get any notice that they were going up. I don't care personally, but I was just curious, what is the cost to the city? Is that, how does that work?
And actually, Mark can answer that question.
Normally, in this case, we got a request from the HOA to install those, and so the city granted that request and installed them. You know, we get those from time to time, and they don't always get granted, but in this case, the HOA made a good case, they needed to be there, so they got installed.
And like I said, as a citizen, I agree with it, except for one thing. There is a county or a state ordinance about a stop sign, and you have to park so far away from it. Some of these are right in front of people's driveways, and that's the spot where they used to park. Doesn't affect me, but it just seemed odd that we didn't give any consideration to that or push back on the HOA about that. Now, there is an HOA meeting this Wednesday, and I will be going to that, or sitting in on it, just to see what, I'm going to ask them the same question, you know, why, what are they doing for the citizens whose homes are right there by the stop sign?
Yeah, so I think your neighborhood is a little interesting because we have,
It's awful.
we also have stop signs, kind of in the same thing. Now,
Yeah.
what happened in Parkview, the city put no parking on one side of the street.
And that's what we should have.
Correct. So that's why, even though we do have it in front, you don't park on that side, so therefore you.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I
On the
agree.
other side, it's fair game, you know, for one night. Now, your neighborhood's interesting because you can park on both. Good luck trying to change that. A lot of residents have called me trying to change it, but it's not really that easy.
Well, the interesting part about it is, I have a friend who was an Ocala firefighter for many years, and he dropped me off once, and he said he couldn't even get through my horseshoe
Yeah.
because the cars parked on both sides, and the curve. He said, if you ever have a fire, he says, I hope you jump out the back window and run to the retention pond because the fire truck's not getting here. So it is a safety issue, and the developer obviously didn't think about that or the planning that went into that. So just for the future, we might want to consider that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think in the future, we do have that where they only can park on one side. Now, I did speak to the fire chief about that. If it is a true fire, they're gonna get there one way or the other, and
Right.
that's the point, they are, nor the city are responsible for any liabilities because they park there on their own volition. So if there's a true fire, Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, they will get there one way or the other.
They will, and if there's a consistent problem, if there's a problem, consistently in a certain area, let us know. Our code requires a 10-foot width of passage, and if it doesn't meet that, or if they're parking too close to a hydrant or whatever,
Sometimes the GFL can't get through.
yeah.
Interesting. I don't know if they've ever complained to you about it. I didn't want to bring it up when they were here, but the garbage trucks can't get through too, so.
No, your neighbor's pretty bad. When you have two large trucks like mine, and it's happened to me where there's two side by side, and then my large truck, I have to put in my mirrors and squeeze by, so.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
If you remember, the reserve was a really bad design, and the Ardmore was the better and greater, and obviously it's not great enough, but Reserve was really horrific.
In
As
Lakewood
a matter of fact, the
Bridge.
second part of Reserve, we made them wider. But that's what happened originally. Got it. Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Okay, closing public comments, thank you. Reports, Mark Johnson?
Several things. First, I do want to remind you about Turkey Farm Road. There was a project there that wanted to annex in, and the city felt like it was too much density, so the city did not approve that. They went to the county because they wanted 17 lots, I believe, on a small area. The county, I think, was, we believe the county was going to grant that, and this council drafted a letter asking the county to not grant that many lots on that area. And the city council has been very good about listening to the county residents' concerns. The hills of Minneola, the reason why there's a 100-foot buffer zone is because the city council listened to concerns of the county residents, and they provided a huge buffer zone. Nobody puts 100-foot buffer from house to house, residential to residential. Also, dark sky lighting requirements came into play, you know, this council does listen to the county residents. Another thing, the ISBA, at the staff level, as far as annexations go, we answer, back when the ISBA and Councilman Saunders was there, Sandy Minkoff, one of the primary reasons the county wanted to be involved is they didn't have adequate fire protection outside the city limits. And they wanted us, because we were closer, to respond to calls that were outside the city but close to help improve services for the county residents. At that time, there was a base amount that was agreed upon per call. And Sandy Minkoff said, we realize this is a small amount, but we just need to get kind of an idea, a year of data to kind of see what the numbers are going to be, and we can adjust that to a more reasonable amount. That never happened. 2 regimes ago, under County Manager Cole and also Melinda, they stopped paying the city for calls out in the county. And we routinely go to calls out in the county. We're not going to, you know, if we're close by, it's a medical emergency, we're not going to tell them no, whether we're paid or not. But it's certainly nice to be able to recoup some of those costs that we have. Our deputies, they're not going to say, hey, we got a Minneola deputy that Minneola pays for that's closer, but stay in the city, we're going to have his own deputy come out. No, our deputies are going to go out there. So we are paying services out in that area. It's nice to get some of that money back. So from a staff level, to Scott's point, that's what we're looking at. And you know, right now we're providing them with nothing, no reimbursement at all. We have, I'll leave some of this off. I can mention it another day to try to save time.
Bless you.
We have one application for a planning commissioner. We have another one that may be applying as well. We have approximately 7 committed sponsors so far for $37,600 for the Centennial. Truist has not 100%, but more than 50% has committed to maybe $20,000 sponsorship. The bank that we use, Truist. Minneola Markets canceled this month to accommodate summer camp for the kids. Civic Plus, our online agenda portal, experienced a global outage. We weren't aware of it until staff trying to upload stuff and it wouldn't go, over and over, staying hours late trying to get it to go, doing it from home, you know, being on hold forever trying to contact them to see what was going on. And then they tell us, instead of proactively letting us know, they told us, oh yeah, we're having an issue. Just keep trying to upload it. So staff went and took all that stuff and tried to do a Dropbox and back and forth. So there were some issues there. Also, and we let the other cities know in case they're having problems, some of the developers are getting invoices that look like they come from us for planning stuff. And we suspect, we're not certain, but we suspect a lot of this started when we had the front-facing portal, customer-facing portal with Civic Plus. So we're not sure, but that seems like the most likely issue, that maybe there's an AI-assisted program they're using to capture the applicant's data and send them bills. It looked like it comes from us. Thankfully, as far as we know, they have not been successful with people that we have come
my
here.
next question.
But I just wanted y'all to be aware of that.
Thank you.
Let's see. The change order, do y'all want to go ahead and move forward with that driveway, that other driveway for Tread Park for $103,000 to get that
Yes.
included?
Yep, that's within the change orders, correct? The allotment that we have, so there's.
It's
no-
within the allotment.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep. Council, I'm good with it.
And I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more thing.
Sure.
Tonight, there was a great time among council where everything was just ran smoothly. There was a lot of goodwill, even though y'all disagreed. Tonight, I saw a spark of that, and I hope we can continue with that. I saw a little spark of the days where y'all were a team, and y'all are still a team. But I appreciate how well y'all work together, even when you disagree, and I thank y'all for that.
Thank you, Mark.
Not everybody has what we have.
Anything for the city manager?
Mark, if you, when we annexed all the Sugarloaf and the hills, if you remember, Lake County's setbacks were ridiculous. They were terrible. They were almost 10 foot from the property lines. And we did everything in our power to make sure when we annexed that we gave an incredible back setbacks and how we put buildings near the line and things like that. And the county regulations were really non-existent compared to what we did.
It wasn't that way in return.
Yeah,
Right.
so we really worked hard to make sure that we took care of Ferndale and we took care of existing county people for our setbacks. Just like Del Webb up there, the setbacks, so they're not affected by the neighbors who are going to be in front of them on 561A. So that was pretty, we worked hard at that. And, we never, ever, in all those years, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock meetings, that we denied the county residents not to voice their opinion. We had some heated discussion with Sugarloaf Mountain, and we're going to close the road and this and that. And at one time, Sullivan Road was closed because the Sullivan Road people, then they went to the county and they closed it, and then all of a sudden they opened it because it didn't make sense because they couldn't get anywhere. So we've always had great consideration for the county.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and they may not be aware of that, but the city council has always been as accommodating as possible, more than most cities would, and trying to resolve the concerns as best that they can of the county residents.
And I would like to make sure we have copies of the contract to GFL, if that's what we finally settle on, to see what they offer and what they don't offer, and dumpsters and things like that, please.
Yep.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, sir. Debbie?
Just a thank you to Mark for setting up that Zoom call with Skip. I think we got a lot accomplished, and it was very great conversation, and seeing all their improvements and what they're doing for us, or going to try to do for us with the new trucks, the spills. So they're working hard to keep our business. So thank you for setting that up.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Debbie. Eric?
For Mark, no, thank you, Mark.
Thank you. And
Nothing.
nothing for Mark. Our city attorney, Scott?
Just a couple of things. One, thank you to Mr. Saunders and for Mark for correcting me on I've never seen us turn down an annexation. I think what I should have said is of a already developed property. We have, obviously, as you know, you've turned down annexations for people who, undeveloped property that wanted to come in for a variety of reasons over time. But second thing is, Cheryl will be happy to know this. The legislative report has been issued. I will send her a copy, and I'll obviously and provide each of you. So, yeah. Of course, she's given us most of this information already, but I'll send it out anyway to each of you.
Please don't send it to us. I want Cheryl to have.
I
true-
should. Maybe I'll just give her a copy,
Yes,
and
yes.
each week she can read have like a reading from the report or something.
The person in the know.
Yeah, exactly.
It actually came out like a week or so ago, but yeah. Oh, thanks. Thanks for not throwing me under the bus on that. The last thing is the kind of hyper stuff that lawyers think about. Earlier under the consent agenda, you approved a number of impact fee installment agreements, which is something we've routinely done through the years, allow them to pay their impacts over time. One of those, the way that works is, among other things, the property owner pledges and gives us a lien on their property. So if they don't pay, we've got a recorded lien and we can collect like a judgment in that way. For the first time, though, one of the ones that were approved this week was Crooked Can, which is obviously a bigger number than what we normally see. I think it was $350,000 more or less. Dawned on me after we put the draft and everything together, their interest, they don't actually own the property. They have a long-term lease from Scormans and all that, but now they are willing to pledge their lease interest, but they don't own the fee simple property. And we would have to get that from the fee simple owners, who I doubt if they would be willing to do that. I just wanted to make sure that you all are okay approving the agreement that we're getting a lease pledged interest from Crooked Can. Hope I didn't confuse that too much. So in other words, yeah. So in other words, yes. So we don't have the whole fee simple property pledged to secure that impact fee agreement.
We don't have a lien against the property.
We have a lien just against their lien interest, which is a long-term lease interest, rather, not against the whole property, correct?
So,
Yeah, okay
We
with
would,
that.
yeah.
so essentially, what you mean to tell me that if they default on it, then Minneola will essentially own a long-term lease on a brewery.
Yes. That's, if they would default, if Crooked Can goes under in 3 years or something like that, yes. Now, we certainly can sue them for what's...
No, I want to keep that.
Yeah, okay, well, I guess I didn't think about it that way, yes.
Yes, we will be the first city to
arguably,
have a
yeah.
city employee
Yeah.
that's a brewmaster. I think that's a
So
great
he's not
idea.
having a problem.
Yeah, so
think that's
he's happy
great.
about that.
He likes we're going to get a long-term.
Suffice it to say, it sounds like you're okay with the arrangement.
We'll be having our
so-
meetings there. Mhm.
Yeah, I'll look through it a little more carefully, but didn't want to go the next step and ask for the underlying property owner's pledge, which they probably would be hesitant to give anyway, but you'd be willing to work with Crooked Can and approve that. I know they're very appreciative of the...
Yeah, just for the record, in case they are watching, I hope they do not go under. I think they're a great company. I love the ownership there with Andy and his team. It was just a joke, but not really. I hope we do own it. No. I'm sure they're going to succeed, and I can't wait for their opening day.
Okay, all right. We'll certainly do everything we can to protect the city, but just wanted to make sure.
And for the public, keep in mind that we are one of few, at least the only one in Florida, that have an official beer, and that is a Crooked Can, so keep that in mind. That was voted on last year.
And that is it. That's the only thing I had.
Thank you, Scott.
Scott?
Yes.
So you remember the building next door?
Which one?
The impact fees, remember they wanted liquor for the
game room?
The game room, and remember that?
I do not remember it, but yes.
Okay, well, let me enlighten you.
I certainly remember the next door and all of that, yes.
So let me enlighten you. So Tony McCoy,
Yes.
the preacher, owned it,
Reverend McCoy, yes.
and Mark was the proprietor, and he had a bar there and a restaurant, and then he wanted to add liquor to it. And basically, he defaulted. And the only recourse that we had was we had a lien to make sure that we were covered for the impact fee, because we had to run sewer line to there because the state wouldn't let them have liquor without sewer.
Right.
So the only concern that I know Mr. Hernandez loves beer, and that's fine, but I'm still concerned that, things happen. And basically, like the Sugarloaf deal, the world's pretty, we're going to have this beautiful golf course, Crenshaw, the world's going to be great, and who was holding the bag at the end of the day was Minneola.
Right.
So, and I'm taking the beer factor in the equation. But is there any other way to make sure that the city is covered?
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe we can write any collateral that they own within that building, because I think that will equate to the impact fee.
I think, again, because the Scorman is doing a long-term lease, correct?
Right.
So they're not going to raise their hand. but I think there's got to be some other way to protect the city at the end of the day, that they can't walk away with everything and we're holding an empty building that they didn't follow through on because the economy changed.
Right. Well, and you think
Again,
about.
I'm not
yeah.
being
No,
harsh.
and that's, we'll
It's
discuss
business.
with them, yes.
It's business.
I mean, obviously, like the Kroger incident that happened, Kroger went
Well,
under and.
perfect
and-
example.
Exactly. The city, hopefully they've been able to claw back all that money, but that was everybody's scrambling to look at their agreements to see what they've got when things go bad. So that's exactly it. We have been successful in the past because we've had liens. This one would not be a true lien because they just have the lease interest. We'll discuss with them. We obviously want to be fair, but we want to make sure that the city is protected, because you don't have to provide this payment arrangement. It's something you have the discretion to do, and you've given in circumstances like this, but
I remember
need to
going
make sure the city's
I
protected.
remember going to a chamber meeting, Groveland, and the Groveland mayor thanked Lake County because they wrote the agreement right. If that agreement wouldn't have been written right, they would have sucked wind. Bad. And he said, thank God that Lake County did that. So again, it's all nice and we all love beer, except myself. But at the end of the day, we just need to have some provisions that we have a,
Is it possible you could consider a bond?
you could do that.
Could be done.
You could do a bond.
Yeah, that they certainly could provide. And it's a fairly, was it 5-7 year? It's a fairly short-term payment period, so.
5 years on them.
5 years.
So with Orange County, I do a bond for taking all the waste there. And the only other thing I have for you, Scott, did I mention that an
Shut their water
application
off.
fee for dumpsters?
Yes, I was
Not
wondering when you're going to bring that up.
Well, I'm back, and if you could look into that, I would be very pleased.
We can talk offline on that, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very
I'll
good.
make a note right here.
Anything, Debbie, for the city attorney?
No, thank you, Scott.
Eric, anything for the city attorney?
No, thank you, Scott.
Joe? Perfect, and thank you, Scott. Okay, we'll go with Debbie Flynn. Anything? Oh, I apologize. My apologies, Mr. Yeager.
No, it was exciting 2 days. And I'm sorry that not one of those neighbors came to see me. My next-door neighbor didn't come to see me. And the sad part is, as I said, if you look at the master plan, that when I annexed Sugarloaf and what it should have been today and what it is now, it's disgusting. So my whole intent is to make sure that they have a voice out there, and by annexing my property in that, they would have a voice and I would know what's going on, and it would be beneficial for them. I have, otherwise, I have the dog in the fight, except I want to make a difference. And again, I remember when there was a model center there. I remember when it was a beautiful golf course and I played on it, and basically I played on it, I drove the golf cart, but people played on it. And now, what's really disheartening is you have these people that bought into that lifestyle, and the next day they look outside and they took out 30 foot of cut. You got a well pipe 30 foot in the air. They didn't sign up for that, but things happen. But at the end of the day, it's not anything we had the vision, because if it would have been, the houses would have been nestled in the trees, and it would have been walkable paths. And again, I have the $50,000 model center model that showed exactly what it's going to be, and nothing like it is today. I wouldn't have enough Lego bricks to move all the stuff on the model. So that was my intent. It went terribly wrong because I think people want to, because I'm Dave Yeager, I guess, they just want to stir the pot. But the deal is I have no intention of changing it from ag to anything else. And I would put that in writing and whatever. But that's not my intent. My intent is no one here is out there. No one's out there. I see it every day. All the truck traffic goes there. You have, that once a month we have the Lamborghinis going down there and racing down the highway crossing. You have bike paths. It'd be very nice one day when we have actually cycle paths that people can actually do that. And what's really disconcerting about the whole thing is 455, they're going 80, 90 miles an hour, and all day long. And the residents that came tonight, what frightens the hell out of you is one of them could be an accident. When I come out of the driveway of that house, you have to watch, because there's a dip at the bottom of the hill, and if you don't see the last car coming, you're out of luck. But on a Saturday, if anybody wants to come out and sit there, and you'll just see, view, view, view. They do it all the time. And again, that's more concerning than anything. And when you add another 1,000 homes, and if you see the stakes up there, it looks like they're planning some kind of roundabout. We're not sure, but I believe it's going to be another roundabout so you can get to both sides of the neighborhood. And just think of the people on Sugarloaf Mountain on the top of the hill, and they came to all the meetings, and all of a sudden it looks like a wasteland. So their beautiful view now is a wasteland, and there's nothing we did. We held the developers to the highest standards and make sure. Who knew they would all go bankrupt? But who's holding the bag? Voila. So that's my interest in what I'm doing out there. It's an incredible, the birds, it's an incredible place to be. It truly is. But not one of the neighbors came to me and said, hey, what's going on? One neighbor did come because her dogs are at the garage every morning, and my wife calls the big dogs that keep the coyotes away are in the garage. So I have to come from the office, run home, and get the dogs and call her, and then she runs up. But the deal is that was my intent, and it was nothing malice about it. And as I said, I told everybody that I've been here so long that all the people that came in here and you ruined my life, and the county let them build. Then the city, we gave them great setbacks. We made sure the plan, and as councils come and go, you have to adapt because the plans change. And, the one participant said, I'm responsible for Lennar. No, the hell I'm not. Because I wouldn't have done that. But that's not, that was a council deal, but it had nothing to do with me.
Well, the Great Recession messed up a lot of the plan. The Great Recession messed up a lot of the progress.
Yes, and if you'll remember too, Lennar, when Lennar was here and they walked away because Commissioner Veet didn't like the side setbacks and they walked, thank God they did walk. Because guess what? Nothing that we have today probably would have been done. It would have been all half-assed. And they paid more for the property now that they have the homes in, that they could have had the whole 1,800 acres. And, I went there. I don't get it. They're all one color. They're all whatever. They're all it's not my cup of tea. But we did the best job through the years in councils to give the set and make sure that we were keeping the county in the mix. Mm-hmm. And then they pass away and their kids are pissed. Perfect example. The older man right there at Grassy Lake and Citrus Grove came to every meeting here. And the neighbor came every meeting. He passed away. The kids were pissed they couldn't get a better zoning for more money. And he had that little house and took care of it, and he did little gardening, and he was happier than anything. But I've been both sides of that. And to say that we didn't care, that's so wrong. Really is. It's so wrong. We cared every step of the way, and more than any other place, through all the annexations, we wanted to make sure that we did the right thing. Sometimes it doesn't turn out. You know what? Sometimes you raise kids, some are good, some are bad. It happens. But that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Debbie?
Yeah, in Cheryl's kind of voice, I have a question. But before I do my report, I want to address Eric's text. I don't want to speak for Denise, but I know she was trying to run a meeting last night. And the way she runs it, that's up to her. She's the chairwoman. And in the order she ran it, I mean, that was up to her. I don't believe Denise has a personal agenda, and neither do I. I came last night as a resident, which Nicole clearly pointed out that I was not there as a council person. I did not quasi-judicial swear in. I did not speak. So there was no personal agenda. So with that said, I want to say some good things that Dave has done. So, Brad, can you do the thing? Because I have a question. And I want to be transparent. So before, Brad, I'll tell you when we moved. So right here, April 7th, we had an agenda item number 10, the purchase request for the Heroes Memorial Park pedestal and plaque, which Pam did a great job putting it all together. This was under the city manager's agenda, or council. What was it? City
manager's agenda.
Okay, next. So this was the quote, and this is for a pedestal. And if you've seen the Memorial Park, it's beautiful. It really is. So we, the council, approved this, $8,770. Okay? So if you notice that this $8,770 included a plaque. Now, the council did not talk about the plaque. We didn't discuss what was going to go on the plaque, and I thought we would have. So there's my question. So I want to know, and we can't change it now. I don't want to change it now. And just for the record, to be transparent, I've been in this city 33 years, nearly served in the community for 20. I don't need recognition. I don't need an award. I don't need a plaque. I don't need my name in neon lights. That's not me. But I think we should have talked about this. And the reason that I don't have a personal agenda with Dave, because he has done some great things. So if you go to the next slide. So when the city hall was dedicated, and hence the word dedicated, in 2004, I think it was great that Mayor Yeager did this building for the city so that we have a city hall to come to and to meet. And in this dedication on this plaque, the city council is listed, the mayor's listed. You see how that goes? And David Yeager was a councilman at that time. Next one, please. If you go to the Minneola Athletic Complex, Minneola Athletic Complex, you'll see approved and you'll see dedicated. You see the names of the city council. All the names are listed because these were dedications to the city, because not one person does anything up here. It takes all 5 of us. Not 1, 5. Next slide. And this is what's on the pedestal. So for you that, if you can't see it, the First Responders and Veterans Memorial, this memorial is dedicated by the City Council, Minneola City Council, by the brave men and women who protect and serve our country, or our community, I'm sorry, and our nation with honor, courage, and selflessness. Their service will never be forgotten. With vision and dedication by Mayor Pam Service, May 25th, 2026. This is a dedication. We all 5 worked on this. We all 5 shared her vision. And why? I mean, is this how the next 5 months is going to go? Because I think now with Dave up here, he's the perfect example of that dedication. It takes all 5 of us. And like I said, I personally don't need any recognition. We can't change it now. I don't want it changed. But I think going forward, the council needs to talk about what's going to go on these plaques. And that's my report.
Perfect. Thank you. And Mr. Eric Hernandez?
Yeah, thank you. So obviously, we're going to address this that was brought up. First of all, I did, for the record, did receive a message from the person I had this conversation with who did not give Clint explicit permission to use this. So I would love to know what permission he got to use this. So that's number one. Shame he's not here today, or it's this afternoon. Funny how he says what he has to say and then leave. Yesterday's meeting, when I went to the P&Z, I was there, Mark and I had a conversation. Hey, Mark, I think I'm going to go just to explain what data centers are. Is that correct, Mark?
That's right.
For those that did watch, Joyce did a great job with it, but, you know, there's a lot that goes within data centers, so, and Nicole, thank you for being here as well. So just wanted to shed the light on what data centers truly are, different types, et cetera, et cetera. By no means did I try to, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Nicole and Denise, I try to influence how you guys were to write it in any which way, shape, or form. In the beginning, when this was brought up with Mr. Yeager again, and Dave could ask you right there, Dave, you and I have had maybe one conversation in the last 5 months, maybe if that. Oh, I'm sorry, we got coffee a year and a half ago. That's right. That's the extent of my relationship with David. There's no friendship. We're acquaintances. We're cordial with each other. But what I saw yesterday was what I think is a very clear case of something going after, or a group of people, and I could be wrong, 100%, going after someone in particular, for a couple of reasons why. First, actually, before I say I do want to say, and again, it's a shame Clint's not here. One thing that I am very ashamed of and very embarrassed about, when Clint yesterday did his speech, he did something that I found very disturbing, and Mark and Scott, Mark, we both had this conversation. He involved children. He involved children in his speech where he said, I want to speak to the children in this audience. And if my son was here, I would have stood up to Clint and said something. Why? Because no one says anything to children without parents' consent or without their knowledge. And the mere fact that he turned around and addressed the kids in the audience, who there were children, was uncalled for, embarrassing, and frankly disgusting. So I would like, Scott, Mark, if we can come up with an ordinance that does not allow anyone to speak to children or address children without the permission of their parents. And I would like council's full vote on that, if you will, please, because I found that to be very disgusting, and you guys can all watch the video on South Lake TV. So I think, do we have to go to a vote for that, or can a discussion first be said? Or how do you want to do that part?
If the council consensus, we can work on a draft ordinance and bring back
Great.
our resolution.
Council?
Yeah, and then let Clinton come and explain what he said.
Awesome, wonderful. So let's get that drafted, because again, that was absolutely disgusting what he
You
said.
need a motion?
No, consensus is fine.
And mind you, I've had multiple residents call me to say the exact same thing. So I'm not the only one who felt that way. The reason why I had the conversation, I'm not going to name this person because very conveniently they left out the person who I sent this to, and to protect them, I'm not going to say who that person was. The reason this was said was because of the actions that was done by this, not by the commission, actually, but by Denise during the meeting. Let me explain why. Been in a couple meetings here for P&Z for multiple reasons, and I've seen them on TV. Never once does the head of the P&Z, I'm sorry?
The chair.
The chair, yes, the chair of the P&Z, never does she skip the commission's thoughts before going to public comments. Every meeting she's held, she's done a great job in procedural, making sure that it's followed to the T. Ironically, though, yesterday, when it was done, instead of going to the commission to get their thoughts and opinions first, she automatically went to public comment and automatically called Clint in order to say his speech, which his speech had a lot of things that were not really correct, but that's another conversation. That was anomaly number one. Anomaly number two was she let Clint go past the multiple time limits, and other commissioners also warned her, hey, he's gone over the time limits. And again, this isn't hearsay. This is all public record. This could all be seen on the video. It happened multiple times. Number three, other people in the audience try to address, or during public comment or during speeches or during their comments on this item, they tried to address the audience. The chair said, no, you have to address us. But conveniently, when Clint addressed children and other members, she let it go. She let it go. Okay? And to me, that is not how a chair of a commission should run a meeting. And this is nothing personal against Denise. Denise and I have broken bread before. We've had drinks. I respect her. Hell, she's done my taxes before. No ill will against Denise. But when it comes to being the chair of a commission, that person needs to be held to a higher standard, just like all of us here need to be held to a higher standard. Okay? And let's not forget what happened to Paul Giacalone. Paul Giacalone was the head of this commission. Paul Giacalone stepped down because of a break of procedure that he did in a commission meeting. And he was asked to step down. So again, Denise, this has absolutely nothing to do against you personally. I respect what you do. I respect that you are a small business owner here in Minneola. This is purely procedural on how that meeting was ran. This, again, I actually, on public record, would like Clint to come in and see how he received this without the permission of the person who sent this. So if you could please address him to that and have him come to the next meeting, that would be great. I'm sorry? Okay, absolutely. I wanted to, but he left, right? So unfortunately, that's what it is. Okay. So I wanted to bring that up. I wanted to bring that up because, again, it was an embarrassment of a meeting that I got from multiple people, the break of procedures, the lack of respect to her fellow commissioners, and what seemed like a attack. And it's just so convenient that all of the neighbors for this individual who was going to move there were there. And so convenient that when I asked them today, point blank, excuse me, what's the issue that you have? And I said, all right, cool. We'll put it in the code that he won't build anything. But yet they kept going over and over the same thing, so it's almost like if it was rehearsed. Again, not saying that they were. I'm sure that the gentlemen that were here, they did their due diligence, and I respect the hell out of them for doing that. But the ones that were there yesterday kind of seemed that they were saying the same things over and over. So when you have way too many coincidences, something usually is awry. Something usually is awry. This city worked very hard to get rid of all this stuff based on what I've heard in the past. I was not here, of course, of similar items that happened many, many years ago, and this cannot stand again. This cannot stand again. Therefore, and before I say this, Mark and I had a conversation before this meeting. Mark asked me, think about what you're going to say, and I said, Mark, you know what, absolutely I will. Truth be told, I was not going to do it. But when this came up, all gloves are off. Therefore, I, Eric Hernandez, I would like to call for question Denise Calderon as chair of P&Z Council.
With that said, Mark and Scott, what is the next step that needs to be made?
When you say call for question to be removed,
as chair
now, is
from
that
P&Z?
just as chair or as from P&Z in general?
From P&Z in general. And the only reason I say that is because Paul was in the same position, the same chair, and he resigned fully. And again, for public record, I believe it was after a conversation with you, Mark, that Paul did leave based on the actions that he did, correct?
From what I recall.
From your recall. Perfect, thank you. So in order to be fair for Paul, who did serve this community for a long time, and for the record, Paul was my opponent when I ran in 22, and I have nothing but great respect for him and his family.
Yeah, as the removal of a P&Z member can be done by council, but only for cause after notice in a hearing. So if a majority of the council feels that there's cause for removal, you can proceed. You'd have to get 3 votes, obviously, to pass that, and I would take Eric's as a motion for the removal. And then, as early as your next council meeting, you can have it as an agenda item to address the issue. Obviously, Ms. Calderon would have every ability to speak and defend her actions, and then you can make a decision at that time. If there aren't 3 that believe it should proceed this evening, it would just end there. But I would take that as a motion by Mr. Hernandez to have her removed for a cause, subject to a hearing at, I would suggest, the next council meeting if you did that.
Of course.
Okay, with that said, I have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All oppose?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So we will add that to the agenda, the June 16th agenda, and proceed from there.
Okay.
And then furthermore, so also, Debbie, to address your concern regarding this, again, as I stated, there were too many coincidences yesterday in order for this to come to light. And the reason I named you in here is because it's very publicly known that you and David do not get along. I mean, it's very evident since day one. It's publicly known.
That's not true. We get along fine, it's just I state facts. So if there's an address problem, Dave and I have been through this. We have had beers together, we've laughed, we've discussed things. It's not anything personal. I state facts.
Well, for the record, I don't drink beer, but
I
okay.
mean, whatever.
Well, and the fact is that you've taken hits at me for the years, many times during the years. You were out here with your husband years ago.
That was from the
trying to
address
get
thing.
me off an address. Well, yeah, I went through a divorce and I came to council, but you've taken hits over the years, and that's fine. I mean, Sue Cordova said if I was dead on the side of the road, she'd walk over me. So you're not as bad as her. But the deal is and I told city manager that night, I think she's liking me. I really do. I think she's liking me because she'll walk over me. But at the end of the day, you know, I am what I am, and I haven't changed over the years. And, you know, everybody in Del Webb says I got $1,100,000 house because, hey, you know, the developers are really treating me well. And I came back and said, well, you know, if they were treating me so well, I would have spent $5 million. I wouldn't have bought $1 million fixer-upper. That's just my life. But again, you know, I don't drink beer. I don't do
Okay, I
that.
take that back.
And
We've gotten together
she's
before.
always been after me, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, when we're on council, we're trying to make the best out of a situation and make the best for the city. And not one time in my time since '94, since I moved here, had ever done anything malice to the city or in the best interest of the city with the facts I was given. Are all my decisions, as I look back and I age out, would I do it again? There's some I probably wouldn't. But let me tell you, that's probably the same thing with raising children. But the deal is, it's not one time, you know, people, you know, said, you know, I'm taking it. I gave all my money when I was mayor. I did everything I possibly done, but not one time ever did anything. And people come after me forever, and that's just, that's, I guess, my name. But that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Well, all I have to say about that is it was not personal. It was clearly about his address. He's lived in Claremont, and I was only bringing it to the council's attention that when he served on planning and zoning, he did not live in the city of Minneola. That was it. It was not personal.
Okay. Then if that is the case and there was no personal vendetta, then I do apologize on record for this.
But clarification, that's
nothing last
1
night.
out of 4 times. Thank you.
Because he moved 4 times.
So if that is the case, then I do apologize on record, you know, for stating that. However, there were too many coincidences yesterday for this to say,
To point at
something
me,
looks
though?
odd.
To point at me?
Yes.
What was it? Because I didn't swear in, I did not speak, I did not sit with any of them.
No, but you did speak with them at the end when you were in the lobby, because
Yes,
I saw.
because I was
Right.
questioned, yes.
Yes, so I did see that.
But coincidental? No.
Coincidental that you were,
That happened because I walked outside and I was questioned.
right.
So I didn't plan anything.
So
I didn't
then, so let
call
me see this,
anyone.
Debbie, so why didn't you stay for the rest of the meeting?
What do you mean?
Yeah, so that wasn't the only topic on the agenda, but,
No, that's the one I was concerned
was-
about because I've been through this before.
okay. Okay,
But nothing personal,
okay, fair enough.
not at all.
And that's it, thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you, Eric.
Make a
Joe?
point here
Sure,
amongst all of this.
sure.
When council members attend a planning and zoning meeting, they shouldn't speak at all.
Exactly.
There should be no viewpoints, nothing said, unless the city advertises that council members will be at the meeting, more than one council member will be at the meeting, you're breaking the sunshine law. You could be dragged up to Tallahassee, put before the Ethics Commission, and punished. Keep that in mind when you come to P and Z meetings. You're better off to keep your mouth shut.
Right.
And I say that from experience, because for over 10 years, I kept my mouth shut at P and Z meetings.
I did not speak.
I never spoke on any issue or any subject. So I believe what I'm saying, and I follow the law. So, just a word of caution.
Anything else, Joe, for your closing report comments?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Do you want to open this up to public comment after what was said, or no? It's up to you, Mayor.
No, actually, I would like to give my reports.
Okay.
Ms. Flynn, the examples that you gave on this wonderful slideshow that you presented,
Thank you.
well, you're very welcome. They were existing facilities. I am going to say that this memorial site was not an existing facility. That is the reason why it was written out that way. Now, if your feelings were hurt,
I said they weren't.
and no, okay, if your feelings weren't hurt, if you felt some type of way that you needed to bring this up in front of council, it's sad.
Well, sunshine law, Scott, I thought you would like that.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad that you felt that way. But on the other hand, like you said, it is what it is. We can't change it, but so sad you feel that way. I hope that in the future, that whatever project you decide to take on, and that you decide to take the lead of it, that you should take every recognition as to that, what you put all that effort in. Just like, well, you haven't anyway, but just like Mr. Hernandez, when it comes down to that park, absolutely. I give him the utmost kudos and the respect that if he wanted his plaque to look like that, good for you, because you put in that time and effort. You put in all that time and effort just as much as I did. And that'll be all.
I'm not
Thank
saying
you.
excluding your names, I'm saying just be
I mentioned, again.
cautious.
Again, very cautious. I'm very cautious of you. Thank you. With that said, I'd like to come back to council for a motion to dismiss, to adjourn, excuse me.
So moved.
I have a first. Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.